you hear me okay? Okay, I'm gonna try and talk chill. Hello. Hi, everyone. Oh my god. I haven't been this nervous for a stream since my debut. I'm so nervous right now, but oh my gosh, thank you so much for stopping by, everyone. Let me just say hello to everyone. 1 second. I'm kind of scared. Why are you scared? A non-salty Kimmy. Oh, no, don't worry. Don't worry, the salt. How loud would it be if you... I'm not gonna scream. Okay, guys. I have a fail-safe in place. If I scream, I'm going to mute. And the thing is, you know me, okay? All of you know me. At least I assume. All of you know me. I scream. It's just what I do. But my plan is today, when I scream, I will mute. And like, you guys will just hear silence. And you'll just know. You'll be like, oh, she's screaming. So at least 50% of the stream. No. I will try my hardest to be chill today, okay? I'm already struggling. Oh my god, you guys. Okay, let me say hi to everyone. Hi, Hanzo. Hi, Sari. Hi, North German. Hi, Pottery. I know Mouse there. Hi, Mo. How's everyone doing? Oh my god. I just wanted to stop. I just wanted to talk about my day for a little bit. Not stall. I'm not stalling. I had to go in to get my blood drawn today, right? And oh my god, I don't know what the doctor did. Like, I think she missed my vein at first though, but my arm hurt so much. It's like she really stung me. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have gotten your blood drawn before, but it's just a quick prick, right? Well, it was like she stabbed me. Arm rejects blood leaving. Yeah. It didn't feel pleasant. It wasn't a pleasant experience. But it's okay. It's okay now. It's alright. Yeah. Also, I'm really excited for my, finale part 2 of Skyward Sword, cause I have something good planned. Hi, Zero. No, I didn't start yet. I'm just talking about my day. How are you? Screaming princess pressing her face in a star flap to mute her face. Oh my god. North German, that's such a good idea. Okay. Nice content warning. Yeah, I'm gonna have a content warning, cause, I wrote some dark stuff. It's not too bad, but there's people who get stabbed and whatnot in some of my stories, and so I was like, I'm gonna have a warning. Stream my mind, so I'll be listening. But yeah, lurking. Thanks so much for the lurk, Hanzo. Thank you. What was today's question? Today's question was, what's your favorite genre? It can be your favorite genre of anything, games, manga, anime, stuff like that. I just want to hear what are some of your favorites? Yeah. So, oh no. Why is there a prediction? Oh my god. Oh no. RPG? Okay. Alright, I guess I should start reading. RPGs for games, fantasy for books. Yo, me too. Power counting, I need help with this. I'm gonna try hard. It depends. Some of my stories I'm very embarrassed by. Some of them, might be uncontrollable laughter. I believe in you. Then, okay, thanks. Why is there... Okay. Alright. Alright. Let me, I think I'm gonna start with my poems. There was a period of time for two months where I just wrote a ton of poems. And okay, I guess a bit backstory with this is I used to write a lot, because when I was in like middle school and high school, I wanted to be an author when I grew up, right? So I wrote a lot, and so I have a lot of stories. We're not gonna get through it all today. I don't even know how much we're gonna get through today. I don't even know how much of this I want to share, but okay, for like 2 months, I got really into writing poetry, and I'm actually still kind of proud of these poems. So one second. Here, my poems. Let me just open this up. All right, let me look through these. Okay. Alright, for some of these poems, I wrote it about, like, kind of stories for some of my characters. But the thing is, I don't remember most of these characters. I don't remember them. Counter-poeming you with a haiku later tonight? Alright, bet Hanzo, let's go. 1v1 me with haikus. Okay. So I don't really remember most of these characters, so I can't really tell you any context with these poems, but let's go. I don't even know how to pronounce most of these names anymore. I wrote like the weirdest fantasy names, so this is gonna be interesting. Okay. This one is titled Ysara, which I believe Ysara is one of my characters. I don't know where she's from though. I think it's a she. I don't know. Okay. This is not a cry for a cure. You do not have to endure what I have to say. If I could, I would. I would sway you if I could to help my friend. But how much I know, you would not like to be the center of the show, and that is fine. I will be the one to step up. I will be the one to blow up, but it will all be worth it. Yeah. That's it for that poem. Alright, next one. This is a love poem. Oh no, this is so embarrassing. Okay, love poem, let's go. Hi Jimmy. Yeah, right now I'm reading some of my poems out. You're just in time. Welcome in, Jimmy. Welcome. Yeah, I'm reading out, my poems now. Okay. Alright, this one's titled, how do I pronounce that? Pike? It's spelled Peike. I don't really know what that is. Yeah, Pastel Princess ASMR. I'm trying my hardest, and I promise you, when I start screaming, I will mute. It's not an if, it's a win. Honestly, I should probably grab a compressor or something so that I can't just start screaming. Screaming ASMR. Yeah. Remember to mute before you stream, not after. I know. See, look, I'm doing really good today. See, normally, if this was a normally stream, if this was a normal stream, I would have already been screaming at that comment, Pottery, so I think I'm doing pretty good. How would you scream during soft-spoken stories anyways? It's because I'm really embarrassed, Jimmy. I'm really embarrassed. I need to be able to count the screens for the poll. When I suddenly go silent and don't say anything, that would be why. How do we count when I'm suddenly silent and my mouth is still moving? That's how. God damn it, you guys are making me loud. What classifies as a scream then? Anything louder than this. Okay, let me read. Okay. Wait, I don't want to read this. This is embarrassing. Okay, that was a soft scream. I'm proud of myself. Alright, let's go. Having flashbacks to my school short stories. Yo, that's me, Hanzo. So basically, Kimmy being loud. Yeah, is whenever I'm, normal volume. Okay. With hair like silk, the color of buttermilk, you've changed me into a newbie. Every time you go by, my mouth turns bone dry. What is it about you that makes me so askew? I never knew I want this. You make me at bliss. If you could be mine, I think I would be on cloud 9. I know this is one-sided, but I have decided. I will not give up on you, not even if I have to. Yay! Okay. Palm Princess. So ready for a scream there. I didn't scream. Loki Gamer. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Alright. These are cute. Thank you. Okay, alright, this is the next one. It's called A Prophecy. Danger is afoot, so beware. For the couple who is barefoot and unaware. Danger lurks with 7, who is heartless, and wants to and wants to send them to heaven so that they're harmless. The Jack must stop the nonsense before the clock is missing a slice. Now go to the performance before the hearts pay the price. And that one was like sort of Alice in Wonderland inspired. Yeah. I actually like that one a lot. Okay, this next one I really like. I wrote it about my friend's cat. Her cat was so fat. Okay, this is a very fat cat. Sounded kind of Kingdom Heartsy. Yeah. Okay, this next one, it's about my friend's cat. Her cat is really fat, okay? Alright, that's the context of this poem. And her cat's name was Mika, so that's the title of the poem. Okay. All they fed me was ham. Now I weigh 10 kilograms. How can I hunt now? All I can do is chow. I head down to Master's nest, and what do you know? She had guests. They all picked me up and pet me. All I wanted was to be free. Why, oh why do I keep coming? This forced love is getting numbing. Yeah, and that's it. She didn't like getting picked up, but everybody wanted to pick her up. That one I had a lot of fun with. That one was so much fun. Yay, kitty! Oh my god, that emote's so cute. Okay, alright. I want to pick up cat. Yay! It was so cute. Okay, ooh, I like this one. Okay, alright, it's called Deep at Night. Deep at night, when it's no longer bright, you may find an unknown right at its throne. Deep at night, don't let it give you a fright. You may find an unknown, but you can always disown. Deep at night, why don't you fight? You may find an unknown you never want to be shown. Deep at night, it's right in your sight. You may find an unknown, too fast to grab the phone. Deep at night, it's all alright. You may find an unknown, but you're really alone. That one I like. I like that one a lot. It's got a really unsettling atmosphere, but, okay, like, I'm kind of curious what people think of that one. Because the way that I wrote it, is actually pretty literal. I mean, I don't know, not really. It's more of like, you know when you go outside at night, and you always jump at shadows, because you just, it's very deep. Yeah, I feel like it can be mistaken at something really deep, but basically it's just like an assurance that like, yo, you jump at shadows in the middle of the night, but it's nothing, chill out. That's why I wrote it. Okay, okay. This one, oh, did I... One sec. Okay, I'll read this one. This one is short. It doesn't really rhyme. I don't know if I like this one as much, but... But the ending is pretty, it's pretty striking, I feel. Okay. It's called Choking. Do not drink, do not stink. Do not steal, do not have sex appeal. Do not feign, do not complain. Do not... I don't know what this word is supposed to be. Calliope? I don't know what that word is, sorry. Do not be free. Do not seethe. Do not breathe. I guess that one did rhyme. Yeah. Let's see. Alright, and these are two poems that Calliope... Yeah. I don't know what that was supposed to mean. Yeah. Calliope? Is that what it is? Calliope? I don't know. Okay. Alright, these two, are ones that I put in a story of mine. I don't know if I'm going to share this story of mine. Because I actually uploaded this story on the internet. And I don't want to dox myself. Oh, Calliope. Oh, I see. Okay. Alright. It's a muse who presides over eloquence and epic poetry. I see. Is that what I meant? I don't know. It was so long ago. Alright. We met not more than 4 months ago. Friends, you have captured me though. I do not want to weigh you down, so my real name will not be around. Just know that you make me feel so stunned. I will be eternally grateful, and I love you. Thank you. It's a love poem. Romance. This is so embarrassing. Okay, that was one scream. Okay, next one. It's a scream. Okay. You're doing good, Thank you. Okay. I don't know if you remember, but I sure do. The day that I met you, somehow you rooted yourself in our group, our silly little circus troupe, and changed my life forevermore. You never once thought I was a bore. It may have been a while, but I knew. I had to eventually see this through, because I love you. Thank you. Send you an audio clip? Okay, thanks, Terry. Okay, let's see. I have another poem, but it's a little bit depressing. I don't know if I should read it out. It's a little personal. Maybe we should move on from poems. I swear I had another one. I don't know where it is. Corey, hi. Up to you. Okay, it's not too bad. It's just, it was when I was feeling kind of sad, okay? I was feeling sad because nobody appreciated my work. So, it's not too bad. Okay, alright, let's go. Alright. A writer that cannot is useless. Any attempted art is useless. Stuck in a theater that doesn't clap, an eternal cold snap. The letter that was left over haunts me over and over. I'm stuck in a vacuum with no room. The art stagnates for hours. Only the ground flourishes with flowers. I'm stuck. Is this bad luck? Providence? Consequence? It may be none of the above. I may never be a dove. Maybe I should just get rid of this labor of love. I'm stuck. With any luck, maybe I will leave my mind's eye. Vic, thank you for the follow. Thank you. It's okay. Okay. That was it. No problem. That actually hurts. I'm sorry. I wrote this. I was feeling really depressed. Amazing model. Thank you. I really appreciate it, Vic. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Yeah. I could never have this much creativity. Thank you, Jimmy. It's good. Thank you. Remember a few things. Thank you. I always try to make things have like a positive term at the end, so I hope that that's shown through. Like I might read sad things, or write sad things, but I always try and make happy endings. But the problem with that is that I don't make endings. Okay, you'll see now. Okay, that's it for the poems, but you'll see after this, there's like I have a ton of short stories, but I also have a ton of stuff that I stopped writing halfway through. So, yeah, I guess I should just look through this. What do I have? Let's see. God, writers sound better. I don't really write anymore. I want to. I do. I just don't have any ideas anymore. I kind of do, like, coming back to some of these stories, I wanna finish some of them. Some of them are really interesting. It's fun. Thank you, guys. This is really... Thank you. Thank you. This is really helping. Okay. All I've really been doing now is translation work, which I don't really share. I should though, but that's all I've been doing lately. Talk to Kaiku later because it's faster. I want to read stories. Hanzo, you should stay. Hanzo, you should share some of your stories. I wanna see. Okay. Let's see. What's this one? I don't know what this. Okay, I guess I can read this. I think this one. Wait, I'm just trying to look through it. Okay. This one might be depressing, I'm sorry. I may someday. Yeah, let's go, Hanzo, let's go. Okay. Alright, this one, it might be a little bit depressing. I don't really remember this that well, but okay. There was once a girl. She was shy, innocent. The way her eyes curled when she was smiling showed just how sincere she was. How long ago did I? It varies. This one is from 2017. Yeah. Okay. She had no shortage of friends. They all loved to be with her. The girl loved the world for the many blessings it had given her, but the world didn't love her. The world took away just what it had given her. Her innocent smile fell. She went day to day in monochrome. Her world existed of just her, but yet, no matter how much she tried to keep to herself, others tried to bother her. One day she decided to stop them. Her blank expression changed to that of a frown. If the world was just going to torture her, then why couldn't she treat the world the same? She lashed out and destroyed all around her until she saw black. There were white walls. There was a photograph of one, a smiling family. If everyone around her were birds, beautiful and free, then she was a drowning bird. She was sinking deeper and deeper into the blue water. At some point, it had turned red. Once she had been happy. Now she was choking on air. That one's called Drowning Bird. Only 4 years, it's not too old. Yeah, I think my latest one, it was from last year. So it wasn't too long ago. I have no idea why I wrote this. I don't know why I wrote this. I honestly don't even remember writing this one. So, I'm sorry. It was depressing. Okay, moving on. Let's see. I'm sorry. Oh. This one, I literally clicked it and it said, rewrite this. Literally, it says chapter 1, rewrite this. I never rewrote it. It's still good even if it's sad. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my god, this is from 2014. In 2014, I literally said rewrite this. Okay, Oh, this one. Okay, wait 1 second. This one is something that I took from a short story. Let me find the short story first. I never finished this one though. But let me find the short story. What was it called? Alright. This one, let me see. What year is this one from? This one is from 2015. Okay. Let me zoom in a little bit. This is kind of hard to read. Okay. This is called I'll Take the Roast Mutton. Wait, okay. This one doesn't have anything bad. Okay. Alright. The waitress looked very uncomfortable. I'm glad I could relate, because I was feeling uncomfortable myself. This wasn't natural. I was just going out to buy some books. Why did I end up here? What would you like? The waitress finally spoke up. Couldn't blame the poor girl. See, across the restaurant. I think I meant restaurant. Okay, I know the story behind this. There's gonna be a lot of spelling errors because I didn't have spell check in the program that I use. I didn't have spell check. This was a while ago. I never had words, so, and then it was kind of recent that I learned how to use Google Drive. Okay. Usually do have a pretty voice when you're not screaming. Thank you, Siri. Yeah, I hope the voice is okay. I. See, across the restaurant table from me was a 200-pound medieval knight, clad in armor with a spear that he nonchalantly leaned against the table. I'll take the roast mutton, he said, flashing her a wide smile. The waitress gave a strange grin back. I cleared my throat. There's a reason she gave you a menu. They don't have roast mutton here. I pointed to the laminated menu in front of him. I wasn't even sure he could pick it up since his fingers were armored too. Go ahead, give me a surprise. Thank you, Jimmy. Okay. What kind of place doesn't have roast mutton? He started raising his voice, causing the poor waitress to flinch. Quiet, I shushed. He frowned at me. I gave him a stern look. You're the one who demanded I take you here, so shut up and order something on the menu. He glared at me a little before sighing and struggling to open the menu. The waitress just stood there, too frightened to move. I can't read this, he said. You should be able to. You're speaking English, after all, I retorted. No I'm not, he said. Yes you are. I am not. Yeah, you are. I'm not speaking English. Then how can I understand you? I slammed my hands on the table. Everyone stared at us. I backed down with a blush. The night dude sighed again and pushed his menu away. I'll have what the child is having, he told the waitress. She nodded. A mile a minute. 2 salads then, I said. What's a salad? He asked. You'll see. After a small amount of waiting, the waitress brought back 2 salads in plastic containers. The knight didn't seem to understand what it was. So, are you cosplaying or something? I asked, biting into my salad with a crunch. Cosplaying? Costume playing, where you dress up as different people. I'm guessing you're trying for a 15th century knight, I said, waving my fork in a matter-of-fact way. No, I came from the 15th century, he said. I almost dropped my fork. Ha ha. And are you gonna tell me you time-traveled here? Yeah, I did. Well, I was supposed to end up in the 5th century. I burst out laughing. Oh my god, are you saying you messed up? Oh my god, I actually like this a lot. She's so savage. The main character is so savage. No, he said the machine was working fine. Well, you're in the 21st century, buddy, so of course it wasn't fine. I stabbed some lettuce with my fork. Now eat up your food and go home to mommy. I'm insulted. Do you really not believe me? I shook my head. Well, it's the truth. I can't head back without finding a time machine here. I cheered. Woot woot, adventure. He brightened. Does that mean you're gonna help me? No. What? I pointed at our salads. This was supposed to be precious money spent on books, but you pointed your stupid lance or whatever at me and made me spend it. Well, I'm sorry, but people don't get fed much in the 15th century. I can't live off of 2 meals a day. I gasped. Only 2 meals? I'd die. Yeah, whatever. Eat your food and leave. So the next day I went back to my usual path to get to the bookstore, but I found the knight lying there. His eyes were barely open, and he was shivering like mad. I could see it from far away, and through his armor too. Did he sleep out here? The nights were cold this time of year. Oh my god, Siri. My chest tightened. Maybe I shouldn't have ditched him. Maybe he wasn't some hardcore cosplayer. Maybe he was telling the truth. I took off my coat and threw it at him. He looked up, his eyes wide. I sighed. I'll help you, I guess. Go find your time machine or whatever. He looked over the moon. Thank you. And so the adventures began. And that's the end. So then I took that idea in 2016. I decided to make it a story. Soon, yeah. The adventures. Yeah, I was sassy. So I decided to make it a longer story, except I never even finished chapter 1. So one sec. I finally have to add this content warning. Cliffhanger. Want to hear more? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. There's gonna be so many of these stories. So many of these stories that are just gonna end, and I'm so sorry. Some of them even end in the middle of a sentence. More important, understand your illness past. Okay. Alright. Hi Ray, welcome in. Welcome. Okay, I tweeted before, by the way, rip curiosity. I tweeted before, okay, that when I was younger, I tried to include romance in, like, pretty much all of my stories, right? Except I was too embarrassed to actually write the romance part, so it's very, very awkward, and you'll start seeing that, don't worry. This is so embarrassing, but okay, alright, let's go. This one I called, Gamer and Knight, and it was meant to be a full series. I never finished chapter 1, but let's go. Alright, level 1, Gamer meets Knight. After 2 months of doing laundry, dishes, vacuuming, and practically being my parents' slave, I was able to save enough money to get the new DO game. I think DO was a game series called Dark Operations that I had in a couple different series. I think that's what that was. Okay. So I was heading over to the game store, which was just opening. Just so you know, this was at like 5 in the morning and during a school day. So I, the tiny 14-year-old... 14? I made the main character 14? What the hell? Okay, anyways, 14-year-old girl that I was, woke up super early and ventured out into the cold with $60 just to line up in front of Games Day. Of course, I had no such feeling that anything special was going to happen, well, except for this looming fear of getting hit by a car, which was a pretty common occurrence in Lines. I think that's the town. So I didn't get this feeling of destiny when I tripped over this random stranger. I was busy. I didn't have time to deal with jerks. I turned, about to mutter some not-so-nice apology, but my words caught in my throat. Trucker. He was wearing a full suit of armor, but not your typical medieval 15th century cosplay. No, his armor was ice blue with strange patterns. It was crafted in a way that seemed to break his strength and beauty. But the thing that caught me was his face. He would be quite the looker if his blonde hair wasn't so frayed and dirty, and if he wasn't looking at me so pitifully. Stop. I'm embarrassed. One sec, I need to scream. Okay, scream. Scream over. Hi, Basil. Basil, welcome in. Welcome. I'm just reading out some of my old stories, okay? I'm a little embarrassed by them, though, so sometimes I need to mute just to scream. Okay. Just as I don't think I included an I. Okay, just as I was about to be on my way, since I did have somewhere to go and I was trying to peg him as a weirdo, his stomach growled. We're up to 3 now. I didn't have to help him, did I? I couldn't just toss him a few cents and be on my way, could I? No, I needed all my money to buy DO4. Excuse me, sorry. Brave of you to read your own writing live. Thank you, Basil. My chat actually bullied me into it. They gave me lots of channel points. But thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy your stay. I'm gonna try and make it a comfy time. Okay. I looked around. Was there seriously no one else here? Well, I guess it was 5 in the morning. He looked up at me, giving me puppy dog eyes. Ugh, I couldn't just walk away now. I had to give in to my fate. I would just have to beg Chris. I would just have to beg Chris to borrow me some money. I didn't revise most of these either, by the way. Again. Seriously, I already owed like $100. True, I was the one who created it. That's a good point, Siri. Are you hungry? I asked. It was a stupid question. Then again, I thought this was a stupid situation. If I couldn't get my gain, couldn't I just head back home and sleep? Why me? He just nodded. I held out my wad of $10 bills. Here, go get something to eat. But instead, he grabbed my hand. I almost screamed in surprise. Using his other hand, he started tracing on the back of my hand. It was like when Chris drew on the back, on the back of my hand, maybe? I don't know. I just said on back, and I had to guess what it was. I tried, but I had no idea what this strange man was drawing. Is that considered finger food? Wait, this would be really funny. just grabs her hand and takes a bite out of it. Hand holding in this story. I'm sorry there's hand holding. Get something to eat. I'm so sorry. Look, I'm embarrassed too. My face is bright red. Don't worry. Alright. I don't remember what this hand thing was. He was actually doing something. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember anything about this story. He stopped and then smiled. What the hell was that? Tomato princess. Yeah. Thank you for your kindness. However, I do not understand the rules of this land. Would you honor me in teaching me? He said. What was with that stiff English? You go to a restaurant or store and pay for food with money, I guess? Restaurant? Store? Money? He looked troubled. I would hate to bother you further. He stared up at me, puppy dog eyes intensifying. Fine, I'll bring you to a restaurant, I said. I had to skip breakfast, so I was starved myself, and those begging eyes could convince a tree to uproot itself and walk away. He got up and started following me, tail wagging. I seemed to have picked up a stray dog. So we walked into the first place I saw, and I took a seat at a table, motioning for him to sit across from me. He did a weird hand wave motion before finally accepting. I don't know what was up with that either. This cosplayer did some weird things sometimes. Maybe it was to get into character? The waitress walked up to us, a $10 tip smile on her face, but the moment she saw my company, her face twisted in confusion. Here's the menu. She placed them as far away from him as possible. Would you like anything to drink? I'll have water, I said. Water was free. Oh, I know water. I'll have it too. He sounded a little too excited. Okay, just a moment. And she ran away. She literally ran into the kitchen. I opened up my menu and started looking through it. I didn't like pancakes or waffles. Eggs are gross. Oh, it's not on the breakfast menu, but that chicken Caesar salad looks good. What are you going to have? I asked. He was staring at the menu. I cannot read this. What? But you're speaking English. English? No, I'm not. Not liking eggs. Yeah, she's really picky. Oh my god. I know water. Yes, you are. I raised my voice. Why was I getting so worked up? If not, then how can I understand you? If you're cosplaying or whatever, you should cut the act. But I'm not acting. I have an oath to speak only the truth. I was about to retort, but the waitress came back, so I shut my mouth. I noticed that it was a different girl this time. Was he really that weird looking? Oh my god, I was already desensitized. The waitress placed the waters in front of us. Have you decided your order? Yeah, I'll have the Caesar salad, I said. And you? She turned to the not-so-15th century knight. I'll have... And then he said something that sounded like French? Italian? I don't know, but it certainly wasn't English. This guy a paladin? Do you want a spoiler of who this guy is? Do you want this spoiler? Because I never wrote his real identity in this. Do you want to know? Alright, let me continue. Okay. They don't have that, I butted in. What? You? What place doesn't? He shook his head. But then I will have what she is having. I am curious. You want to know? Hi, Sheriff, welcome in. I'm sharing some of my own stories. Okay. The true identity of this guy is he's a king from a different world. Yeah, this is some isekai level stuff. He's the king. He's not just some knight. He was a king. I think I vaguely remember, like, he was fighting in a war, and then he, OC, yeah. This is all stuff that I made up. He was, like, fighting in a war, and then got teleported to a different world. I don't remember how it happened. Has there been Dragon? No, they'll say his name in a little bit. Lost twist already. I never wrote this. Okay, this is gonna have a cliffhanger. I'm so sorry, everyone. Okay, let's go. Alright. The waitress nodded and took the menus away. Persephone, I muttered, resting my elbow on the table. My name is Persephone. My friends call me Percy. His face lit up. Then, could I call you Percy? Was he indirectly asking to be friends? Ugh, but I couldn't say no because he was using his puppy dog eyes. Sure, I guess. He smiled. It was so gentle that I was getting embarrassed. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name is Finian. Finian, a normal enough name. Was he Irish then? So, what convention did you come from? I asked. I do not come from a convention. I come from Ritsko, Finian said. I was just about to get mad again, but the waitress came back and set our food down. Great timing. That was it. Percy. Yeah. Can't say no to the puppy dog eyes. That's it. That's all I wrote. No, it's here. I'll write it out. It's Finian. Finian. And then later on, they nicknamed him Finn. Was it Macbeth Scottish or Irish? I'm not sure actually. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, one sec. I'm muting because I'm gonna get some water. One sec. Like Adventure Time's Finn? I'm not sure. I never saw Adventure Time, but yeah. So that was that. That was that. Let's see. What's this? Let's see. Next one. So I see, like, the thing is when I'm scrolling, like, I'm looking through my Google Docs. These are some of the more recent ones. And there's less on my Google Docs. I have to scroll through so much stuff that is like a cover letter for so-and-so job. There's just so many blank files on this too. Adventure Time Marathon win. Doesn't that have like hundreds of episodes? Oh my god. Oh, okay. This one's my most recent work in 2020, but I don't really want to read it out because I haven't yet. I still want to write a bit more, but I haven't yet gotten to the big twist, the big hook of it. So, no, I think I'm not gonna. Hey, making cover letters. I know, I hate cover letters so much, but you have to write them, and it sucks. What is this? That wasn't anything. Oh my god, where is all my stuff? Oh my god. There are a lot of them too that I literally just wrote down ideas. I didn't know if you wanted me to read that out. There's so many translations on here too. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Alright, let's go to this one. This is the one. Okay. This one also has a cliffhanger. Alright, I never finished this. This is the one that I first read. Okay, this is the one that I first read. That got this whole idea started. Because I talked about how, like, one of my stories had a cliffhanger. And, I was so interested and I want to know what happens next. This one's kind of longer. I actually wrote quite a few chapters for this one. So, yeah, I actually like this one. Alright, I'm so sorry for the cliffhanger. I really want to know what happens next. But, yeah, you'll just... Okay. I don't remember anything. Alright, let's go. Alright. Prologue. This is called Violet, by the way. Doesn't everything have a cliffhanger? I have some short stories. I do. I have some short stories. Alright. This is prologue. Violet eyes stared out of the thin window, observing a bird flying in the sky. It was circling around like a hawk. Looking down, she couldn't make out what it was circling, but that was no surprise. She couldn't make out much of anything from her height. Her world was one room. All it contained was a large bed, full-size mirror, a quaint bathroom, and books. Lots of books containing fairy tales and different worlds. That was what entertained her while she was here. Violet. A memory resurfaced, rippling like a wave on her subconsciousness. There was a woman, her mother. Though she couldn't remember her face, she knew the woman was her mother. Violet was her name. Perhaps she was named after her eye color, which was such a vibrant violet. Even she knew it was unusual. Her books never mentioned anyone with purple eyes, after all. She knew there was a time before this room was her world, a time of normalcy, where she was a kid, playing with her parents and laughing and crying. But Violet couldn't remember. She only saw glimpses, short words, half sentences, blurring images. and most of those faded, as a dream might when she woke from a slumber. All she knew was this room, and from her tiny window, the window that showed her another world, she was perched at the top of a tall, tall tower. Violet once read a fairy tale similar to her circumstances, Rapunzel. Ages ago, she thought of growing out her hair and letting it out the window in hopes that her prince would come and save her. But no matter how long she waited, her dark hair didn't grow past her shoulders. Moreover, the window was thick barred and had no way of opening. After reading a particularly frustrating tragedy named Romeo and Juliet, Violet had thrown the book full force at the window, only for it to come back and hit her in the face. After that, she gave in and spent her time waiting. Unfortunately, Violet was a quick reader and had finished all the books in her room, and that was enough to make any young lady bored to tears, so she spent her time staring out her tiny window. The bird was still there. It was closer now, and she realized it was bigger than the average bird. She fiddled with her dark gown, suddenly nervous. Something was wrong. The bird, no, she didn't know what it was, but it was definitely too large to be a bird, was heading straight towards her. Violet backed away from the window, terrified. I'm safe, she thought, desperately, looking anywhere but the window, as if that would keep it away. She was not able to leave, so that meant nothing could come in, right? But she felt the vibration, strong enough to knock her over, and watched as the ceiling collapsed. Her hope quickly changed into despair. Violet only had a second to gaze at the bright blue sky overhead before a large yellow eye turned in her direction. It was no bird. It was a wyvern. Her hand shot up to her face and she scrambled to her feet. It was no fairy tale. This creature was real, and she realized after it started crawling forward, it was after her. Violet screamed and took another step back, but her foot caught on one of the ceiling stones and she lost her balance. With horror, she realized too late there was no wall behind her. She fell. Yeah, okay, that was the prologue. There's more, don't worry. I just need some water. One sec. Yes, Sarah, you should absolutely do this. Okay. Alright, next chapter. I never actually named it like chapter 1 or anything like this, but it's called Shattered. It wasn't the sort of escape Violet had imagined. Everyone asked Wyvern, but no one asked Halvern. Oh my god, Zero. Okay. It wasn't the sort of escape Violet had imagined, nor was she expecting something from one of her books, a wyvern, to be real. Violet didn't like her tower. After reading so many tales of adventure, mystery, fantasy, and romance, she was itching for something more. Sometimes she would entertain herself with thoughts of how she would leave or be saved, but, she thought, I was safe there. Now she felt the terror of being in the other world that she so desperately wanted to be in, and all she could see was a murky blackness. Was she dead? She couldn't feel, see, or hear anything, but then her back started aching painfully as she waded into consciousness. Soon she was forced to open her eyes. Violet was unaccustomed to the bright light of midday as it hit her eyes. Her room was always so dim, the only source of light coming from the window. Blinking rapidly to adjust, she scanned the room. The grass was a dark green, and it felt ticklish on her bare feet. She breathed in. It smelled like nature, or what she would imagine nature smelling like. It made her feel alive. Alive! She was alive! Before she could jump up, dance a little, scream for joy, and enjoy her life free from her tower, Violet spotted a man only a few book lengths away from her. His dark hair bobbed as he scanned the sky, shielding the sun with his hand. He was turned away from her. She tensed, ready to bolt, but as soon as she moved, her seat disappeared from behind her, and she was left tumbling to the ground. Violet hadn't even realized she was sitting up against something until it moved. Looking up, Violet spotted a wyvern. Ready to scream, she noticed its jade eyes and similar colored scales reflecting her shocked expression, and her breath caught in her throat. This was different from the ashy gray wyvern that destroyed her tower roof. It was a dragon. Beautiful. The dragon looked down and opened its maw. Scared of seeing the fire as it roasted her alive, she skewered her eyes shut. Looks like she's awake, Violet heard somebody say, their words rumbling. Her eyes opened in disbelief. Did the dragon just talk? Looks like it, the man behind her laughed, sounding more childish than she expected. Before she could turn around, he was in front of her, kneeling down and holding his hand out. Violet stared at his eyes. They were a similar green as the dragon's. He was smiling, but then his face morphed into a shocked one. Your eyes are so... He lifted his extended hand up, but Violet flinched away. So her eye color really was unusual. The man shook his head and smiled again. Sorry, what was your name? She muttered, realizing her voice was hoarse. She really didn't use it much in her tower, as speaking to herself would make her seem mad. Clearing her throat, she said, Violet. Violet, like the color of your eyes. He looked up thoughtfully. Violet, Violet, Violet. He continued saying her name, as though it was the funnest thing in the world, or perhaps he was trying that exercise of saying the same word so many times in a row as Violet was tempted to do from time to time. He looked back down towards her, grinning from ear to ear. Violet's face heated. He was probably one of the only men she had met. This is embarrassing. But she could tell that he was handsome. Nice to meet you, Violet. My name is Lucius. Is that how you pronounce it? Lucius? Lucius? I don't know. Whatever. Likewise, she stuttered out, suddenly remembering the manners book that she read. It was her least favorite book that she read, but if she was to live in this world, she needed to remember its teachings. Well, Violet, I suggest you get up, seeing as trouble's coming. It was then that she noticed she was still on the ground from when she fell after the dragon moved. Accepting his still outstretched hand, Violet only winced a little as the action of pulling her up caused her back to start hurting again. Examining the plane, Violet only had to wait a little bit to realize what trouble was. The wyvern that destroyed the top of the tower, which she now realized was only a bit away from them, landed in front of her. A heavily armored man jumped from its back. Violet paled when she noticed him wearing a sword on his hip. What in Eartha's name are you thinking, Lucius? The man yelled, throwing off his helmet. Violet shivered when she saw the look of pure anger on his face. Lucius put a reassuring hand on her shoulder, and while she didn't know him, she trusted him more than the armored man. Lucius leaned in closer to her, and she stared at him in confusion, but he was looking at the enraged man, a smirk on his face. Whatever do you mean, Trouble? His face contorted into something angrier, meaner looking, if that was possible. My name's not Trouble. Lucius turned to her and said, loud enough to be heard by everyone there, Trouble. His name is Trouble because that's all he ever is. Why, you... Violet expected him to draw a sword, but Trouble took a breath and calmed himself. I'm here to collect the life pulse source. Don't get in my way, he warned. And I was here first as well. Lucius lifted an eyebrow. So? Early bird gets the worm, Trouble said. Finders keepers, Lucius countered, bringing her a little closer. Violet couldn't decide whether she was in the frying pan or in the fire. The silence was deafening, and the tension was so thick that she was choking. Softly, she muttered the question that had been plaguing her. I'm sorry, but what are you two arguing about? The previously bickering men stared at her. She felt uncomfortable under their gaze, but no one answered her. About to state her question again in case they didn't hear her, a third one spoke up. That's cute, sweetheart, but you might want to back up so you don't get in the way of their brawl. The dragon. She had nearly forgotten about it. Feeling apologetic, she turned towards it, but before the words registered in her mind. Brawl? Violet whipped back towards Lucius in trouble, and to her horror saw that they were both walking towards each other. They used to do this a lot, the dragon said, dragging Violet's attention back to it. It was a forest green color, its scales shining like jewels. Standing at its full height, however, it was only about twice as tall as her. In the stories she read, dragons were bigger than houses. In awe, Violet muttered, Who are you? The dragon pulled back its lips, revealing its sharp teeth and releasing its wings to its full length. Scared she offended it, Violet held her hands in front of her face for meager protection, but the dragon only laughed, a deep rumbling sound that would have frightened her if she couldn't hear its mirth. My name is Solaris. Solaris? Solaris? Solaris. Solaris. I don't know how to pronounce these names. Okay, my name is Solaris. I'm Lucius's wingman. Yeah, that's how it's pronounced, Sari. Or that's how it's spelled. Yeah. Is that Solaris? Violet blinked at it, not sure what it meant. For a moment, Solaris let its mouth drop and folded in its wings. Terrible jokes aside, you might want to watch this. I think you'll find it very interesting, Solaris said, and Violet turned to where the two men were standing. Lucius and Trouble were face to face, saying nothing, and their faces showed nothing. Just as Violet wondered if they were going to stay like that, Trouble made the first move. Unsheathing his blade, Solaris. Okay, Solaris. Alright, got it. Thank you, Sari. Okay. Unsheathing his blade, Trouble swung it, aiming for Lucius's neck. Her hands flew up to her mouth, and she shut her eyes, not wanting to take in the gruesome sight. Solaris just chuckled. You can look. No way Lucius is gonna die that easily. Violet peeked one eye open, and sure enough, Lucius had dodged the blade. Solaris. Okay. Solaris. Alright, got it. Trouble didn't wait and swung for his arm, but he dodged again. Trouble aimed for his feet this time, but Lucius just guided the blade away with his boot. Trouble was quick, but Lucius was even quicker, dodging and deflecting all of his blows. Violet was gaping. As far as she could tell, Lucius had no weapons, yet he was so easily, so calmly fighting against someone with a blade. How? Violet muttered. How does he do that? Solaris turned to her, its jade eyes twinkling. Knowledge. Unsure what the dragon meant, Violet watched as Lucius went on the offense, jabbing and kicking and forcing Trouble to back up and retreat. Watching Lucius fight was like watching an elaborate dance, and she couldn't take her eyes off him. But soon the decisive blow came. Lucius kicked Trouble's wrist, causing his sword to go flying in the air. Then he kicked out Trouble's feet. The blade came whizzing down, stabbing itself into the ground by Trouble's head. He didn't even flinch. Lucius leaned against the sword, wiping sweat from his brow. That was worse than usual, Trouble. Why are you so distracted? His tone was harsh, despite the victorious smirk on his face. Trouble just glared at him. Give it up, Trouble. The smirk fell from his face, and his face turned hard. It was something that Violet felt didn't fit him. I'm serious about this. I don't care what errands your little fairy friends have you running, or even what she is. I have my own plans, so don't get in my way. Trouble opened his mouth and grunted out 2 words. Damn you. Oh my god, I can't believe I actually had to swear. I usually don't write swears. Okay, and with that, Violet knew the battle was over. Lucius turned away from Trouble and put an arm over Violet's shoulder, leading her away. Come now, Violet. The next town is a few days' walking distance, and unfortunately, Solaris can only hold 1 person on his back. Well, I'm sorry, Solaris said in a tone that Violet knew he wasn't sorry at all. Lucius laughed at that, his voice sounding almost musical. Violet let him lead her. The path seemed endless, but in the distance she could make up shapes of trees on the horizon. Stop following us, Trouble, Lucius said loudly, none of his previous childishness in his voice. Violet turned and saw, to her dismay, that Trouble was following them with his wyvern close behind. My name is Maximus, and I just happened to be going in the same direction, he said, voice calm. That was when Violet noticed that Trouble, Maximus, was good-looking himself. God damn it. Was good-looking himself. Why do I have to make everybody so attractive? One sec, I need to scream. I'm sweating so much. Okay, let's continue reading. Alright. His chestnut hair glowed in the sun, and his dark eyes were sharp, focused. His face looked quite similar to Lucius's, now that it wasn't morphed with anger. Lucius scoffed, but said nothing more, continuing forward. It was then that Violet felt she was forgetting something, and turned back towards her tower. She really did be writing stories she can't read. Stop, Mal. Stop. Okay. The whole top was collapsed, the roof in shambles at the base. It was very tall as well, as if the tower was trying to reach the heavens. Violet realized that no matter how long her hair grew, it could have never reached the bottom. She felt a sort of mourning. It was the only place she knew before, and now it was gone, shattered, and she had to face a whole new world. She stared at Lucius. There was an even bigger concern of hers, though. What exactly was going on? Okay, alright. Next chapter is called Future. Maximus was a good guy, Violet decided. It wasn't long after their journey towards the forest, Violet still hopelessly confused about what was going on, that Lucius collapsed, unconscious. Before she could freak out, Solaris assured that it was a normal thing and that he would be alright in an hour or so. Violet was still apprehensive. As far as she knew, passing out was never an okay thing, but she let it go. 5 more minutes to get 6 screams out of her. Well, good thing, like... Oh no, there actually might be some more screams. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It was then that Maximus walked up to them and silently lifted Lucius up. Solaris leaned down so Maximus could position him on his back. Violet stood there, gaping. Weren't they just fighting? He treated the unconscious Lucius gently, as if they had been lifelong friends, not some sort of enemies, or whatever they were. With that, Maximus started leading the way, and they made steady progress. As they got closer to the woods, Violet could make up more details. All of the trees were an equal distance apart, but as far as she could tell, they were all different trees. But they were all twisted out, as if they were reaching towards something. Towards them. While observing this, Violet failed to notice a tree branch in her path and fell straight on her face with an oof. Are you a Fujoshi? No. No, I'm not. Do you want me to give you a spoiler? They're brothers. Lucius and Maximus are brothers. Stop. This is brotherly love. It's giving a Fujoshi. Don't ask Mel that. Mel. Mel's gonna betray me and talk about my favorite BL ship. God damn it. You're gonna make me scream again. Stop. Okay, alright, we're continuing. Without a word, Maximus just tattled. Stop. I'm not a... Okay, alright. In my defense, I feel like everybody is a Fujoshi at some point. They just need the right ship. But, not this story! Are you kidding me? I'm much too embarrassed to write about that. Alright, let's go. Alright, without a word, Maximus offered her a hand, his eyebrows raised in mild amusement. Embarrassed, Violet quickly grabbed his hand and jumped up. She favors the villainous. Alright, Maximus looked down, apparently fascinated with her feet. Confused, Violet stared down too. That was when she noticed she wasn't wearing any shoes. She never had any in her tower. In fact, she didn't even have a change of clothes. She was always wearing the same dark red gown since she could first remember, and although it was large on her at first, it soon fit her perfectly. With fright, she wondered if it smelled bad. Did you need a pair of boots? I have a spare if you would like, Maximus asked, but Violet just shook her head. No, thank you, it's okay. His feet were much larger than hers, so she knew she would end up tripping even more than before. You could also ride Net, he offered. As if on cue, his wyvern crawled over to them. Violet thought it was scary before, with its ashy gray scales and vivid yellow eyes, but it was a lot smaller than she thought up close. It was just a little taller than Solaris, and, well, the way it followed Maximus just reminded her of a dog. Net leaned towards Violet as if to sniff her, and then nuzzled its head against her cheek. She giggled. The wyvern really did seem like a dog, and it was pleasantly warm. Maximus smiled, stroking Net's side. She likes you. I like Net too, Violet decided, rubbing her as well. Net started growling lowly, and Violet flinched back, scared she offended her. Don't worry, she's just purring. Purring? Wyverns could purr? Hurry up, Solaris called. It sounded like a roar. So they started forward again, Violet deciding not to risk bothering Net by riding on her. She would rather be on her own feet, even though she was exhausted from having moved more in one day than ever before in her tower. It was then that Violet decided Maximus was a good guy, which confused her as to why he was so angry before. In fact, she was confused about her whole current circumstances. Should she really be traveling with these strangers, traveling away from all that she ever knew? Perhaps they didn't have good intentions. No one seemed eager to enlighten her on exactly what was going on, so that might mean that they were hiding something. But, Violet thought, this is an adventure. A little more content than before, she continued forward with her strange companions. It was when the sun was nearing the horizon and they were about to enter the forest that Lucius sat up with a groan. He rubbed his head, looking tired even though he was just asleep. Violet jogged up to where Solaris was and stared at Lucius in concern. He smiled. I'm fine, he assured, before she could even ask him. Another nightmare? Solaris asked in a low voice. Lucius laughed. I actually had a good dream for once. The dragon looked up thoughtfully. Anyways, Lucius said, staring at the sky, I think we should stop here tonight. Why? Violet asked, even though she was secretly thankful because she was so tired. The sun is setting and we need to find a path into the forest or we'll get lost. Better to do that when the sun is on our side. Violet had no objections as she didn't know the area at all, and Lucius jumped off Solaris. He started collecting falling branches and gathering them in a pile. Unsure what he was doing, she helped organize the pile as best she could. Better stand back, Maximus warned in a low voice, as if he could tell what was going to happen. Violet took a quick step back while Solaris breathed in deeply. As he exhaled, a brilliant crimson flame came forth, igniting the twigs and branches. She fell back in shock. Solaris could breathe fire! Lucius sat down at the newly made campfire next to her, and Solaris cut off the flame and settled down. Silently, Lucius opened his satchel and took out a red fruit, an apple. He grabbed a stick nearby that wasn't on fire and skewered the apple on it. Positioning it over the fire, he waited until it was a more golden color before pulling it back. Violet watched as he was about to take a bite out of it, but stopped short and turned to her. Are you hungry? He asked, and that was when she realized, yes, she was very hungry. So hungry she almost started drooling. That was when she noticed she never ate anything in her tower. She never felt the need to. Though she thought about voicing her concerns, her stomach growled in impatience, and she nodded her head to his question. Lucius smiled and handed the whole stick to her and went back to his satchel to grab another apple. Violet couldn't wait any longer and sunk her teeth into the juicy fruit. In a minute she had finished the whole thing and patted her stomach in satisfaction. Did she eat the core? I wonder if she ate the core. That's kind of funny. She tilted back and something caught her eye. Turning all the way around, she could see the ruins on her tower, illuminated by the evening sun. Yep, Canada. With a start, she realized yet again that she was forgetting something. She stared at Lucius as he finished his apple, and the moment he was done, she said, What? Violet paused, wondering exactly what she wanted to ask, and just decided on the most general question, What is going on? He turned to her, a very serious expression on his face. She only met him recently, but even she could tell that was uncharacteristic of him. Doesn't know food, right? I really think the others would stop her. That's so funny. That's so funny. He grabbed her hand and held it between his, making her more nervous. Violet, he started, please don't freak out about what I'm about to say. I know that's asking a lot since you screamed when you saw Trouble's wyvern, and I know you are shaken up by Solaris, but please. Violet nodded, mentally preparing herself. She would face the truth, no matter how shocking it is. We only got 4 streams. Yay! I did it! I did it! I was able to stay silent. Oh my god, look at me go. Okay. Alright. Are you ready? Are you ready for the truth? I can see the future. Her mind did the opposite of freak out. She had a mental breakdown. What? She smiled, thinking it was a joke, but he didn't smile as well. Believe me, you are one of the few people who know this. He stared her straight in the eyes, causing her to shrink back in embarrassment. That's why he's so good at fighting, Solaris added in. Exactly, a shadow of a smirk showed up on his face. Violet guessed that it kind of made sense. If he knew all of Maximus's attacks, then he could have easily dodged them. But he thought things like knowing the future was just a fairy tale, but perhaps it was possible. She realized she had no idea what was fiction and non-fiction. This is where it gets serious. He squeezed her hands, resuming his serious expression. In my visions... Okay, big Kiwi. Okay. We're big now. Can see the embarrassment on my face. Okay. Alright, back to reading this. Alright. In my visions, I have seen you. He paused and winced, as if the next part was hard to say. Die. Violet gasped, her eyes wide open. Many, many times, he continued. The first time would have been when you fell from that tower. If not for Solaris catching you, you would have been... well... She nodded, her face pale. Yes, the moment she fell, she wasn't expecting to wake up, alive and mostly well. Violet rubbed her back with her free hand. It was still kind of sore. Anyways, I am adept at avoiding what I see in my visions, so that is why I had to find you, to protect you. Those voice things. Thanks for believing in me. Hey, he brought... Oh god. He brought her hand up and softly kissed the back of it. That's so embarrassing. Why did I write that in there? Why did I write that? Why did he do that? That's so embarrassing. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Violet's face heated up. Yo, me too, girl. Me too, girl. I promise I will protect you, or I will prevent your death, Violet. He looked like he was glowing as he said it. Maximus coughed and said, I'm still here, you know. Right, Lucius dragged out, releasing Violet's hand. She held it to her chest, heart beating wildly. What's going to happen to me? Violet couldn't stop the worry from showing on her face. Lucius said he would prevent her death. But how strong was he really? Would he really be able to save her time and again? Just wondering wasn't helping her at all, so she decided to voice the simplest of her questions. Where are we heading to? To a town called Newville, just past the forest. This is hashtag red. Oh my god, that's a good one, Sari. That's a good one. Alright. Lucius gestured behind him to the horde of eerie trees. Newville, Violet muttered. It seemed familiar to her, but she couldn't remember why. It's a neutral town near the center of the battlefield, Maximus clarified. It's probably the safest place to be right now. Lucius turned towards him, an irritated look on his face. It is. Got a problem with that? Trouble? Violet stared at Lucius, surprised at his sudden hostility. No, not anymore, Maximus said calmly. Good. Lucius muttered and turned towards Solaris to throw him an apple. She could tell the conversation was over, and frankly she didn't want to get in between the two men's fight or whatever it was, so she laid herself down and shut her eyes. There was so much more that Violet needed to know, but for now she was tired from all her adventuring. Hopefully her answers could wait. Hopefully. Alright, next chapter. This is called Run. A woman was screaming. Was someone hurting her? Why did she look so anguished? Violet could see the woman reaching towards her, tears running down her worn cheeks. It's okay, Violet wanted to reassure her. Everything's going to be okay. The woman smiled, and black exploded in Violet's vision. Violet! Someone was shaking her, begging her to wake up. Her eyes shot open, heart wildly beating as she remembered all that happened the previous day. Maximus stood over her, eyes wide in panic. It was still nighttime. What's wrong? Her voice shook with fear. He gripped her arms and pulled her up. Bandits, he hissed, pointing off in the distance where a fleet of men on horses was gaining on them. We need to go now. Violet wasn't about to argue with that. Is she up? A rumbling voice asked, and she turned to see Solaris looking alert with a slumped-over Lucius on his back. Yeah, let's go, Maximus commanded and gestured for everyone to start running. I can't believe Lucius is sleeping right now, Solaris grumbled as they ran towards the forest. They crashed into the trees, literally. Are you all right? Violet ran up to Solaris, whose wing got slammed into a tree, nearly toppling it over. These are just excuses to have them pressed together. No, it's not Mel. No, it's not. Oh my god, there's danger. It's bandits, okay? The bandits, danger. Okay. She glanced back at their pursuers, now worried they weren't moving nearly as fast as them. Running through these trees is difficult, Solaris cried out as his wing caught on another tree. Violet turned towards Net and saw she was having a similar problem. The trees weren't spaced out far enough for the large bodies of the dragon and wyvern. Meanwhile, Kiwi's busy freaking. Yeah, that's me. Whoosh! Just then, Violet felt air rushing past her shoulder. Sunk. An arrow buried itself in a tree, just inches away from her. She froze, wide-eyed at what could have been her death. Damn it. Maximus turned around, unsheathing his sword. They're firing. Violet turned as well, shaking so much she wondered how long her legs would be able to hold her. Violet, get on Net, Maximus commanded, shouting, now, before she could even question it. Jimmy, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye. Net lowered her wing, and Violet awkwardly gripped the wyvern's shoulders. Maximus started running towards a horde of bandits that were nearing the tree line, just as Net and Solaris shot into the air. Violet hugged Net, scared she would fall off, but even more than that, she was scared about Maximus getting hurt. She tried to turn around and look, but even looking down made her dizzy and feel like she was going to fall. Violet squeezed her eyes shut and held on even tighter. Net, follow me, a growling voice commanded. Violet opened her eyes to see what was going on. Solaris was way ahead of them now, hovering in the air waiting for them to catch up. In the distance, Violet could make out the end of the tree line in the light of the rising sun. She felt hope. Perhaps there were people who could help Maximus. But then she started falling. Net! Violet screamed in shock, gripping the wyvern even harder than before as they descended back towards the trees. The landing wasn't soft. Violet fell off her back as soon as they landed in a clearing, more shocked than hurt. A whimpering noise started coming from the wyvern, and Violet examined Net, worried she was hurt. What's wrong, Net? Are you hurt? She stepped closer, trying her hardest to see. The rising sun still wasn't above the trees yet, so it was still dark. Violet placed a gentle hand on Net's wing, feeling for injuries, and suddenly she knew. You're worried about Maximus, aren't you? She stared up at her golden eyes. The wyvern ducked her head in agreement. Violet looked around her, weary. The forest was dark, and they could be far away from where they left Maximus behind. Violet found herself staring up into the sky. Did Solaris lose them? Were they just going to fly away? Violet wanted to urge Net back into the sky so they could find Solaris and Lucius again, but the wyvern went back to whining and shuffling on the ground, looking distraught. We're alone here, Violet gulped, staring at the dark trees around them in fear. No one was here to protect her. Did that mean she was going to die like Lucius said she would? Where is everyone? She looked around her again, still scared, but now shaking. She jumped when she heard some rustling coming past some of the dark trees. Violet's shaking was reaching a new level when the rustling continued, coming closer. This is it. I'm done for. I'm going to die. I hope Net is all right, at least. The wyvern was growing on her, and if death was Violet's fate, she wanted to face it alone. She also forced herself to physically face her fate, even when she wanted to do nothing more than close her eyes and cower away. Violet stared as a figure stepped into the clearing. Her jaw dropped. There, miraculously, stood Maximus. Next chapter is called... This is the last one I have written, I think. Yeah, okay. Next one is called Shift. How? Violet muttered, staring as Maximus stepped forward. She fought the urge to rub her eyes to make sure she wasn't seeing things. Violet thought that Maximus was gone for good. Even if he did survive the bandits, the woods were so thick and dark she didn't know how anyone would navigate through them. Lucius even said the previous night that they would get lost wandering the woods if they didn't find a path. Despite all that, Maximus was there, looking a little tired, but uninjured as far as Violet could tell. The relief was almost crushing. Net leaped forward, nearly toppling Violet over, and nuzzled Maximus so fast he staggered. There, he soothed Net before turning to Violet. I dealt with the bandits, but there might be more coming. These woods are hard to navigate, so they might not be able to find us, but we should hurry to the nearest town regardless. Violet nodded, not about to argue with that. Maximus walked past her, with Net close by his side. This way, he gestured forward, and Violet started walking on his other side. Lochnan is just about an hour's walk from here. She stared up at him as he pressed onwards. How do you know? He held up a crystal sphere with a faint glowing light pointed in the direction they were heading. It's Fey technology used for pointing you towards where you want to go. It only works once, however. Violet was shocked. Something so convenient existed? She really did feel sheltered, although not of her own volition. Why didn't you say anything when Lucius wanted to rest and find a path in the morning? I'm struggling. Okay. Maximus glanced at her. Because we needed rest, and I was hoping to use this for something else. Oh, I see, Violet muttered, staring down at her feet as she realized the conversation was over. She was soon consumed by her thoughts. What kind of place is Lochnan? I thought we were heading to Newville. Are Lucius and Solaris okay? Lucius and Maximus seem to have different agendas. They were even fighting before. Is it okay for me to be with him? Violet's gaze lingered to the sword hanging on Maximus's waist. He said that he took care of the bandits, and she knew he didn't calmly negotiate with them over tea and biscuits. Such violence happening so soon after her freedom left her feeling a certain grief. Perhaps it was because she spent as long as she could remember in her tower, and that she never ran into any sort of violence, but it was something she hoped she didn't have to see any more of. That was when she remembered that Lucius mentioned something about a battlefield. Brimming over with questions, her gaze lifted to Maximus's face. Her voice barely managed to break through the sound of the three's collective footsteps. She cleared her throat and tried again. Do you mind if I ask some questions? Maximus cast her a sympathetic look. You must be confused. It has been 10 years after all. Go ahead and ask anything you'd like. Violet's eyes widened. 10 years? What do you mean? That's how long you've been in that tower, right? I actually have no idea, Violet muttered, looking down. But how did you know? 8 years ago, I was asked by someone to find, well, you. Do you know anyone by the name of Seraphina? She paused. The name didn't sound familiar. She so desperately wished it did, since whoever Seraphina was, they seemed to know her. I don't know. I really don't remember anything. Maximus stopped walking entirely. Violet and Net stopped as well. It was quite a few heartbeats until he turned around and continued. You really must have many questions then. Let's hurry to the inn. And he continued forward, with Violet and Net close behind. If I may ask, why did you destroy my tower? You and Lucius didn't seem like you're working together. Maximus didn't seem to mind the questions as he continued walking. 8 years ago, Seraphina asked me to bring something to her. Until I actually got to the tower, I had no idea that you were an actual person, not some sort of object. Seraphina was vague in her description, you see. I was planning on bringing you to her, but you are a free person. It's your choice whether you want to see her. He paused then, as if waiting to hear her reply, but Violet had no idea what to do. Without her memories, she felt so lost. It was so easy back in the tower, where she never had a choice on what to do with her life. The most she had to choose was which book she wanted to read, or reread, as there weren't many books there to last her long. He continued speaking after moments of silence. As for Lucius, I have no idea why he was there. I haven't seen him for months. That confirmed Violet's suspicion that they knew each other. How do you two know each other? She couldn't stop herself from asking. A small smile ghosted Maximus's face. We're brothers. She almost stumbled over in shock. They were related? The two seemed rather hostile towards each other when they first saw them. That she almost found it unbelievable that they had any blood relation, but Violet did reason they both looked very similar to each other. Before she could ask another question, Maximus sighed and turned towards her. I know that Lucius told you he can see the future and that he has foreseen your death, but for as long as I have known him, he hasn't had that sort of ability. Okay, I'm struggling. Abilities like that don't spring up out of nowhere, and you need to have an innate affinity, which I know he doesn't. I don't know why he's saying that, or what he wants from you, but I wouldn't trust him much for now. Maximus seemed almost pained to say it. Violet wanted to argue that Lucius was a trustworthy person, but how much did she really know about him? How much did she really know about anything? Distressed, she stared at the ground as they continued onwards, letting the silence slowly suffocate her. It felt like an eternity passed by the time the three got to a town. That's all I wrote. That's it. That's all that I wrote. That's it. And now I feel bad. See, I'm so curious. There are so many questions. There's so many questions, and I don't remember any of the answers. Man. Thanks. Thank you. Okay, I'm actually gonna be like right back. I'm gonna be right back. I need to head to the bathroom real quick and then I'll read some more. But see, I'm so sad now. I wanna know what happens next too, but I don't even remember. And like there were dragons in that story. Dragons are cool. Gotta continue that one. That's one that I wanna continue, but I need to I don't know, brainstorm. Figure out, like, maybe I don't remember what I was originally going for, but I can go for something different, you know? Need more wyvern. I know, right? That's super cute. Okay. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, and then I'll be right back, and I'll read some more. Alright, be right back. Okay, I'm back. Hello, I'm back. Hello. Hello. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, that story is definitely one I'm fond on. I wanna write more. I think it's a good story. Although, like, see, the problem is that, like, now I always write in first person, and that one I used to always write in third person. Now I always write in first person. So, yeah, I would struggle. Give me riding wyvern win. Yeah, let's go crossover. My story Violet plus me. Okay, these are gonna be some of my older stories. I'm not going through docs anymore. Docs is so confusing, so I'm just gonna go through stories that I took off the hard drive of my old laptop. So yeah. Let's see. What's this? Oh no, that was just something. I have a lot of things where it's just like stuff that I planned out, but I never actually wrote. What is this? Nope, that was again another thing that I just planned out, never wrote. Okay. Maybe I'll actually write something. That would be interesting. Wait, what's this? Did I find something? No, I didn't. Wait, I think I... Okay, I think I know what this is. Alright. Cliffhanger. I don't know. Is this a good children fighting? Wait, let me just do children fighting. Is this a content? Actually, I don't know how much it's the main character, but I don't know how old the main character is. I don't know how old the main character is. Knowing me though, probably young, cause I wrote a lot of my characters really young before. I don't know why. Why is everybody so young? Why was I writing about kids? Probably because, like, I wrote some of these when I was a kid. Okay. Alright. Revolta gasped as the light hit his face. He stepped out onto the stone. All the way on the other side of that spherical coliseum, a man... Wait, how's coliseum spelled? Wait, I don't know how it's spelled. It's spelled different here. Whatever. Okay. All the way on the other side of the spherical coliseum, a man clad in armor sat on a horse. That's not an ordinary horse, Vivalta thought, squinting at it. And he was right. It was a golem equus callus. Why did I write this? It's so hard to read. Or, in poor man's speak, a golem horse. Made with stone and clay and shaped like a horse, it was artificially brought to life to serve its master. Everything about this competition screamed unfair. Vivalta knew that coming in. He knew this might have meant his death. At least, that's what he made the nobles who decided this think. Little did they know that Revolta was stubborn and smart. He had more weapons concealed on his person than a guard likely had showing off, and he figured that they would bring a golem of some kind, so he stole a sort of jamming device that stopped it. His only problem was getting to the golem. The human on top of it was holding a lance, tense with waiting for the gong to sound. I'll have to be fast, he thought, then smirked. Fast is my middle name. The gong rang out, and the audience hooted, waiting for the fighting to begin. To begin. Oh my god, I'm struggling. The golem horse leaped forward, heading straight towards Revolta. He waited, watching, heart beating in his ears, all for the right moment. The human thrusted... I wrote here trusted. The human thrusted his lance at him, and Revolta ducked. Thrust, he dodged to his left. Thrust, he jumped over it. This caused the Golem horse to be restless. It started stomping forward, ready to squish Revolta. But he was ready. He threw one of his weapons at the human, a glass statue that erupted into a million pieces. The human covered his eyes and as the shards dug into his skin, giving Revolta enough time to place a jamming device on the Golem horse before it bore down on him. He ran. The human recovered and jumped off his horse, since it was useless now. He even dropped his lance and took out one sword of 2 from his belt. The other one he threw at Revolta's feet. The latter stared at it incomprehensively. To Revolta's surprise, the man laughed. "You really got me there. Let's fight fair and square now, boy," the man said. Nobles only fight fair and square when they're on the losing side. The crowd screamed were so loud he almost had to shout. The man laughed again. "What's your name, sonny?" "Revolta?" "Just Revolta. People from the slums aren't permitted last names. You look mighty nice for living in the slums." Revolta played with his cuffs and shrugged. "I dabble in the stock market." It was an obvious lie, so he changed the subject. What noble demands all these questions without introducing himself? The man laughed again. How can someone filled with glass splinters be so filled with mirth? "Me, I guess. I'm Albert Clint." Revolta picked up the sword and unsheathed it, the sun glaring off its silver blade. "All right then, Sir Albert Clint. I will take you up on that offer." Revolta sauntered through. Okay, this is a scene break. Okay. Revolta sauntered through the back alleyways, not even trying to conceal the wallet he had just stolen. 20, 50, aw, only 100? He sighed, but pocketed the money anyways, throwing the wallet behind him. That's only food for 2 weeks or so, he thought with another sigh. Revolta pushed his blackened hair back, and stopped at a poster on the wall of some building, looking for participants in the annual Coliseum tournament. First prize winners can get wait 1 second. That's a trillion. Wait, no, that's a billion. I have it written down with just 1 and then a bunch of zeros, so I had to count it. Can get a billion. You can get a billion. "Ah!" he screamed, ripping down the poster. He stuffed it in his pocket and ran home. "Ah, brother, you're home!" A little boy with dark brown hair and big brown eyes cradling a baby said. "Yeah, and look at this," Revolta said, his eyes sparkling as he took the poster out. That was probably the loudest he's ever spoken in years. The little boy, Revolta's little brother, set down the baby in its crib and looked at the poster. "Annual Coliseum? What's that?" "The annual Coliseum, where a bunch of men fight it out." Revolta punched the air in demonstration. "And you know what would happen if Big Bro entered and won?" His little brother shook his head. "No, what?" Revolta picked him up, excited. "We could get a house. We'd be so stinking rich. We'd be nobles. Wouldn't you love that, Levine?" He brightened. "What? Really? Will we get last names too?" Revolta put his brother down. "They'd have to. I'm going to go sign up right away." He was half out the door when he remembered. Digging into his pocket, he placed the money he had just gotten into his brother's hands. "Here, take this and stock up on food. Oh, and get diapers for Stara too." And with that, he was off. Alright, another scene break. "Perfect," Revolta whispered, a plan formulating in his head as he stared at a small glass statue. He picked it up and pocketed it in his baggy pants. He adjusted his cap and strolled out of some guy's house. He had strolled around the rich neighborhood and stolen small weapons here and there. Most were just decorations. Distraction and deceit. Those were 2 things most important to him, a thief. And those were 2 things he was going to use to win the Coliseum he had just signed up for. Revolta was the oldest of 3 siblings living in the slums. Shortly after the 3rd sibling, his baby sister Stara, was born, his mother passed away, making him head of the household. He had been stealing from people long before his mother passed away, but after their main source of income, was gone, Revolta was getting desperate. That was when he saw the prize money for winning the Coliseum. He signed up immediately. Revolta knew it wasn't going to be easy for him. The rich like to use golems, an artificially created life form, in the Coliseum, so he needed good, expensive tools to fight against them. His solution? Steal it from the rich. Revolta knew when he entered the slums. It looked so much less clean than the rich neighborhood. Houses and people were more huddled together. There was no grass to raise animals, and there was little to shelter from the wind. It disgusted Revolta. If he could make everyone rich, he could, but his family came first. He heard a giggle behind him. "What are you going to do with this?" A soft, girly voice asked. He turned around. Severa. His chest tightened. Right, how could I have forgotten? If he won the Colosseum, he would get her out of this hellhole, too. Severa, his friend that's been with him forever, had blonde hair that was rare in the slums. She had it up in a bow. She was wearing a puffy red dress that reached to her feet. It looked new. A customer must have bought it for her. But the most appealing thing about her was her eyes, shining green like a jewel. But her great complexion was ruined by the bags under her eyes. It made her look grim, even though she was smiling. But it was only to be expected. Her job stopped her from getting much sleep. "Revolta, are you okay?" "Yeah. Oh, that." He noticed she was holding his glass statue. She was good at sneaking up on him. "Nothing much." "Oh, yeah? Well, how do you like my new dress?" Severa twirled. "They're bastards, but at least I get something from—" "I'm entering the annual Colosseum," Revolta said. Her expression dropped. Just interrupt her. "What? Revolta, you could die. That's why they put the posters up in slums. They like seeing us poor people suffer." "You're right, I could die. That's why, if I do, please take care of Levine and Stera," Revolta said, almost pleadingly. "You're serious? It wasn't a question." "Yeah, and I won't die. I'll come back and we'll all live as those stupid nobles do." Severa looked down, her face shaded. "Okay, Revolta, okay." And he walked away. That's it. I never wrote the rest. I'm sorry, that's it. Did I ever say the name of that? I literally just named it Coliseum. That's it. That's the end of that story. Okay. What do I grab next? Let's see. Oh no. Oh no, I have one, but it's like, it's not good. Oh no, this one's actually not good. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, I'm not gonna read that. I'm too embarrassed. It's actually bad. There's some that I wrote, like, this is from 2014, and some that I wrote, like, where I haven't. Don't read it. Okay, fine, I'll read it. Okay, but there are some where I wrote it, but I wrote it where, like, it takes place in Japan, because, you know, I've always been a huge weeb. Curate depictions of Japan. because I didn't understand what Japan was like. Weeb story time. So things are wrong and not good, and I'm so sorry. This is gonna be so very cliched too. I never finished this. It is a cliffhanger. It's one of the cliffhanger ones. Okay. And this is chapter 1. It's called Forgotten. Bryn, shut up, slam. The annoying alarm clock fell to the floor, a large dent on top of it. Haruka Miki huffed with her hand stretched as she watched the thing turn off. "Now you know not to mess with me, you stupid alarm clock." "Huh?" She paused for a moment to make sure what she noticed was indeed true. "I don't have an alarm clock." She looked around. Haruka saw another clock that read 6:19. A room that was either a bathroom or a closet, a door that probably led outside, a counter with some clothes, a cell phone that looked like hers, and papers on it, and kitchen appliances behind the counter. I also felt the need to describe literally everything. This isn't good writing. This is actually really bad writing. Have I been kidnapped? What do I do? Curiosity took God. I can't read this seriously. Okay. Curiosity took over Haruka, and she walked to the counter and examined the papers. There was a note. Haruka picked it up and read it. To my future self, please do not be alarmed by your current circumstance. You are no longer in America. You are in your homeland of Japan, in Owari, Japan to be precise. You now attend Owari Public High School, as shown on the map below, and work part-time at a cosplay cafe. I work part-time at a cosplay cafe, also on the map, after school. The school starts at 6:30 and you're in class 2C. The uniforms are on your right. Please finish high school here. And rent for this month is 5,000 yen. The code to get in is 9928. God damn it. Haruka Miki. That's my handwriting. Why would I write something like this? Why did I leave America? Where's my family? Haruka wondered, but her past self wouldn't answer. Of course not. Then she noticed something yet again. My hair! It was about a foot shorter and rested on her chest. It was a soft blue, completely natural. Oh no. $50 a month rent, I'm in. Yo, I know. Why is it so cheap? See, this is like, I had no idea what Japan was. Also, I was a teenager, so I was like, I don't even know how much this costs. I don't know how much rent usually costs. That sounds about right. Like, oh my god, think for 2 seconds past Kimmy. Anyways. Something in the corner of the room caught her eye. It was a clock. It read 6:21. Crap, I'm gonna be late. She quickly changed out of her pajamas and into her uniform. She grabbed the map, shoved it in her pocket, shoved her cell phone in her other pocket, and dashed out the door. She quickly jogged out the small lobby. Haruka took a quick look at the 3-story apartment building before opening her map. The apartment building had a circle around it saying, "You live here, first floor." One a couple blocks away saying, "Millie's Cosplay Cafe, you work here," and another one a couple blocks away from that saying, "Your school." She tried her best getting there, but she was in too much of a rush and took wrong turns thinking they would be faster. In no time, she was lost. Haruka flipped open her phone to see the time. 6:35? Aw, I'm late. She frantically opened her map to try and see where she was. Need help? Damn it. Need help? Someone walked up to her. He was her age and had long black bangs almost to his eyes. His eyes, they were red, which isn't a possible eye color, but our heroine does have blue hair. He was speaking Japanese, and Haruka was born in Japan and was a complete otaku for a couple years. So she knew Japanese well. God damn it. Oh my god, this is not good. Ah, yes, she perked up. A foreigner? He asked. Oh, she had forgotten she was using English. This is Japan. I need to speak Japanese. No, well, yes, but I can speak Japanese, she said, hoping her Japanese was still audible. Audible? Is that the right word? Okay, where do you need to go? He placed his hands in his pockets. To Owari Public High School. He took a yen coin from his pocket. I can help you. He examined the coin as he paused for effect. But it will cost you, understand? Yeah, I think I have my wallet. Haruka checked her pockets. No, I left it at home. It was left on the nightstand where she destroyed her alarm clock. Then I'll think of a different pay for you. He looked her over. What is this story even? I'm sorry, I said it was bad. Oh no, I'm sorry, I got loud there. I'm sorry. I said it was bad before. Okay. Haruka found herself playing with the ribbon on her school uniform nervously. Anyway, let's go. He walked ahead of her. Wait up. She ran to his side. In 5 minutes, and after a lot of twists and turns through the complicated streets, they were at the school. Thank you, Haruka said. She glanced at the uniform he was wearing. Hey, don't you go here? He smiled and turned around, walking in the opposite direction. See ya, foreigner. God, my name's Haruka. Miki Haruka. She knew the Japanese used family name first, and she didn't want to confuse them. She dashed into the school and ran to her classroom and pushed open the door. You're late, Miki-san, the teacher said. Come introduce yourself. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright. Yes, Haruka walked up and stopped next to the teacher. Now, what did they say in those animes? Ah, yes. My name's Miki Haruka. Please take care of me. Haruka made sure that a light blush was on her face. What is this? What is this? The boys of the class sighed dreamily, thankful for a sweet girl to be transferring there. The girls were either straight-faced or envious. What did they say in those animes? Really? I apologize for this story. In my defense, I wrote this like so long ago, like 8 years ago at least. I'm so sorry. Alright, you may sit in front of Zoru-san. Oh, he's not here again today. Well, it's next to Sakura-san. The teacher instructed. I'm Mir Sensei. So I'm Mir Sensei. A teacher doesn't just introduce themselves as Sensei. Oh my god, this is so bad. This is so bad. A teacher just no, this is bad. Okay. Sakura-san, please raise your hand. Reading One Piece and Cardcaptor Sakura when writing this? I don't know. I'm sorry. A girl in the row before the back and in the middle column raised her hand. She had blonde hair in pigtails and blue eyes. Of course she did. Haruka walked up to her and sat in the empty seat next to her. You will be issued some books tomorrow. That's not how this works. In the meantime, use Sakura-san's books, Miya-sensei said. Haruka nodded. He continued the lesson by drawing some formulas on the board. Are you sure they are in Japan? That's not anime protagonist. I'm sorry. I think this was before I learned about the anime protagonist seating. You sure they're in Japan? This is what I thought Japan was like. I already have in the disclaimer, this is an inaccurate depiction of Japan. Okay. Hello, Miki-san. I'm Sakura. Sakura. Are you freaking kidding me? Nobody would name their kid Sakura when the surname is Sakura. Sakura said cheerfully in a low voice. Please call me Haruka. Then you can call me Sakura. Oh wait, you can't tell. You sure? Haruka let out a giggle. Alright, I'll call you Sakura-chan. Oh, Haruka-chan, welcome to Owari Public High. Wait, what? Sakura smiled. Thank you. Haruka glanced behind her. Who's this Zoru-san, by the way? She wondered out loud. This is so bad. Haruka Sakura? Yeah. The main character's name is Haruka. And, her friend's name is Sakura. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really good at this. Oh my god. Sakura got a serious look on her face. Don't get involved with him. Why? He has the lowest attendance record in the history of this school. Oh my god. Lowest attendance record? What a delinquent. Why? Because he's sick? Oh no, is he diseased? Haruka wondered. No, on the first day of school, he came and got in a fight with a couple of kids. He was suspended and never came back to school. The people who were beat up didn't come back to school either, even though they were good students. That's a trope. Wait, what, really? Really? What a horrible person. Yes, he has black hair and red eyes. If you see him, run, Sakura warned. That sounds like the guy from this morning. Oh my god. You met him? Sakura shouted a little too loud, for the class was fixated on them. Aha, you met the all-powerful Hito-sama? The class turned away, and Mir-sensei gave them a disapproving glance. Yes, but he was nice and showed me the way to his school. He must not be the guy you're talking about. It must be a coincidence they look alike, Haruka whispered. Alright then, if you say so, Haruka sighed. Sakura sighed and turned to the board, not before saying, but there's no one else in the school with that description. And then I have it in all bold, after school. And that's it. That's so bad. That's so bad. Okay. Now! Oh my god. Alright, you heard that. I started rewriting this, I think in the next year. Someone named Sakura? Oh my god. trope in the anime where a main character, usually male, barely attends school, but he turns out it's not as bad as others assume? No, but he's a delinquent who beat people up. I don't even remember much about that story anymore. Yeah. Nope. I think, oh my god, actually, yo, I think this is one of the stories I drew out on a flip note at Tina. I used to beat people up too. Maybe that's it. So like Flipnote had Tina, I used to draw out like comics on it. I think this was one of those stories I did that, and then I tried to make it a story. But okay. The next year I decided to rewrite it, but I decided to make it not Japan. I decided to make it a fictional country and change the names to be English because I wanted it to be not Japanese because I didn't understand Japanese culture. So yeah. This is it. Okay, chapter 1. Chapter 1 of Forgotten Localization. Chapter 1 of Forgotten, the rewrite. Alright, it is called Mei Miki. So I changed her name from Haruka to Mei. She held in her hands a pair of scissors. To anyone, they were ordinary scissors, but they were much, much more. She didn't want to use them, but she had no choice. This will save him from pain later on, she thought, as if trying to convince herself. She needed to leave, and she needed her loved one not to remember her, and like this, he would forget. Bring, is that an alarm clock? Bring, I don't have an alarm clock. May snapped, her eyes open in shock. She stared at the digital alarm clock on her nightstand. There was a lamp next to it, and behind that there was a bare white wall. She examined the room she was in. May was lying on a bed in the corner. Next to her was a window. There were 2 doors, one ahead of her, one behind her, and to the right of her. All the way to her right was a table, and past that were cabinets and a sink and a refrigerator. Okay, I seem to have not gotten past the habit of literally describing everything. This wasn't her house. She had no idea where she was. May got up and walked to the table. She had noticed something on it, a note folded once. Curious, she opened it. Dear future me, please do not be shocked, but you are no longer in America. For reasons better not remembered, you had to leave your family. Now you are in subtitle. On subtitle? An island found about 13 years ago. Under this note, there is a map. On it is marked a new high school you are transferred into, starting at 7 a.m., and a part-time job you go to pay for this apartment, starting at 3 p.m. The code to get into this room is 9928. Please finish high school here. Mei Miki. That's my handwriting, May thought. She turned towards the alarm clock that was still ringing. The time on it said 6:19. Turning the annoying thing off, she decided to get dressed. After all, going with the flow was the best method for adapting. That was it. That was all I wrote. That was it. I still didn't get very far. Didn't even get to the classroom. I don't know. I don't even know what I had planned from that rewrite. Synopsis with, Haru meaning spring, and May is month in late spring. Yeah, that's why I did it. Yeah, I think what I did, because in Pokemon, May, I believe in the original Japanese, her name was Haruka. And so when I knew that, so I was like, okay, Haruka translates to May. That's the logic that I used. Okay. Let's see. I have so many essays. What the heck? Why do I have essays? What's this? Okay, this is major cliffhanger. I have like less than a page actually written. But I do actually have the whole thing planned out here if you wanted me to read it out. One sec. Got it. There we go. I was trying to make your brain seem big and cultured and you just went for Pokemon localization. Yeah, I appreciate it, Sari. I really do. Okay. Alright. This is called Lost Words, Lost Years. It will all be fine, Hope, her mother said, shooing her away. She was having a conversation with a police officer. Hope shook her head and walked the stairs up to her room, the old stairs creaking so loudly she couldn't hear their conversation. Hope knew what it was about, too. Hope's younger sister, Eva, had run away from home again. It had been a week. Eva had never been away from home for more than a day, and that was when she was annoyed at their parents. Jelly-filled donuts! Oh my god, not the jelly-filled donuts! Oh no. But Eva had never come home from school. Hope was getting worried. What if she hadn't run away? What if she was kidnapped? Hope shook her head and ran to the end of the wooden upstairs hallway, letting her socks slide her most of the way. She put an ear up to a vent and held her breath. And we fear she may not make it back to you alive. What do you mean by that? The policeman breathed out loudly. Your daughter may have been murdered. Hope shot away from the vent. No, there was no way that was possible. Eva didn't even have enemies, did she? Did you write about them? Did I write about what? Okay, that was all that I had written, like actually written, but I have the rest of the story planned out here if you want to hear it. If you want to know the mystery and the solution to the mystery. I have it all planned out. It's a murder mystery. This was when I was like, I want to write Mono mystery. It's the Monokuma file. Oh man, that's good. Okay. I'm gonna read it out. Sorry I'm spoiling you all. Jelly-filled donuts. Hope looks... Okay. So these are the plans that I have written out for what to write next. This isn't actually writing. Okay. Hope looks in Eva's room and sees she had a tutoring section with Jim Kilcannon, the algebra teacher. Hope looks him up and sees he was accused of owning child pornography. Oh my god. But the charge was dropped. Wait, how did you find that information? Yo, oh my god. Hope goes to confront him at where the tutoring session was said to be had. It was a high-rise apartment. The receptionist adores him, and fangirls while calling him to say he had a visitor. Hope goes up many flares in an elevator and realizes she forgot her phone. Oh my god, girl! Is this TOS? No, don't worry. You'll see. She confronted him alone? Yeah, she did. She's dumb. Dumbass protagonist. Okay. She shook her head and said that she'd be alright. She knocked on his door and let her in. She also doesn't have her key, by the way. His apartment was pretty bare, making Hope think that maybe he didn't live here at all. And why would a tutoring session be in his apartment? She suddenly got scared. She could be taken or killed as well. Hope asked about Eva, and he said that she was his prize student. He starts to talk about all her accomplishments, and Hope's like, I didn't realize she was so good at math. Hope stops him and asks if he knew where Eva went. Ah, yes, she did go missing, didn't she? Was what he said. Yeah, was she acting weird? Did she come to your tutoring session before she went missing? She was acting the same as always, and yes, she did come. Hope took a deep breath and asked, did you take her? She was shaking, but tried not to show it. Oh my god, this guy. Mr. Kilcannon laughed before he said, Eva is a free bird. I would never lock her up. That's the creepiest thing to... Yo, that's the creepiest thing ever. You don't just say it like that. See, like, what I was going for this was I was trying to make him as suspicious as possible. Like, I was trying to make him so... How many red blades did you write? Yo, okay. See, he was the red herring, alright, in the story. He was the red herring. I wanted to make him as creepy and suspicious as possible without actually, like, putting any evidence on him. And you'll see why later. You'll see. Hope nodded and went to leave the apartment, but he put a hand on her shoulder. Wait, you're running an investigation. I want to find her too. Let me in on it. Hope agreed so that she could leave, and he handed her a card with the same Thursday tutoring session her sister had and told her to come then. Hope nodded and ran off. Hope left the place feeling a little disappointed. She didn't tell her parents when she went, and she stayed up in bed trying to think of what to do next. She decided to consult her two best friends, Carla and Adam. They met at the library, and Hope explains everything. Adam yells at her for seeing Mr. Kilcannon alone, and the librarian looks annoyed. Yo, She's dumb. Come on, Hope. Okay. Hope apologizes and tells him to keep it down. Carla's all like, he wouldn't do anything. He's so dreamy. And they decide to team up. Alright, and then next is things I want to include. Hope meets a woman when going to Mr. Kilcannon's apartment who is bitter towards her. Turns out to be his ex. Eva's at their house and clutches a stab wound and collapses in front of Hope. They bring her to the hospital, but she doesn't make it. Adam thinks that maybe they should quit since this is getting dangerous, but Hope's all like, no, now we need to finish this. On the way back from telling Mr. Kilcannon the fate of Eva, he got emotional over it. Hope gets jumped. She gets dragged into the woods where someone takes out a knife and Hope stumbles backwards. Her hand slipped on a bow. It was her sister's. Then she figures it out. You're the one who killed Eva. No, I didn't kill her. Yes, you did. I'm not a murderer. The person threatened her with a knife. But if you don't stop sillying Jim Kilcannon, I will be. Hope grabbed her wrist and said, you're his ex. She knocks her out. Wait, how does she do that? Suddenly she has a black belt. Somehow Hope escapes and tells Carla and Adam that his ex was a killer. She then went to his apartment to tell Mr. Kilcannon, but the receptionist wouldn't let her. She's like so insistent on seeing him, just like your sister. And Hope's like, wait, turns out the killer was the receptionist. Oh my god, the killer was the receptionist. And Mr. Kilcannon's ex tried to kill Hope. They were just jealous fangirls, stupid teacher. So Hope gets out of the mess, reports the two, and screams at Mr. Kilcannon for being such a player. That's it. Oh my god. So basically they all like the attractive creepy guy. And then tried to kill people over him. Yeah. That's it. That's the end. Alright, one sec. Let me get some water. Okay. Oh, this is a new one, but I never actually read this. I'm not reading it. I need to check it first myself. Okay, we're skipping that one. Okay. Oh, this one is an older one. Okay, this one is an exciting one. It's about little children, though. But it doesn't have a cliffhanger. I wrote this one in 2013. So it was a while ago. This is an older one. It's a short story, so it actually has an ending. Okay. It's called Our Own Little Secret. Let's go to space, Billy Joe says, the second Mrs. Millie leaves the classroom. Endings, we don't do that here. Don't worry, this one has an ending. It's so weird, isn't it? An ending? Oh my god. What? The rest of the class speaks in unison while Billy has the biggest smile in the world plastered on his face. Opinions get thrown around the room until Dinah Carter, who's the smartest kid in the classroom, speaks up. That's impossible. Then she pauses and gets a distant look on her face. Unless... Yo! This is like that meme of the like, what if we go to space? Haha, JK. Unless? Okay. Everyone starts ignoring poor Dinah because she's spouting out impossible to follow plans. Silly Pole, who would rather be safe than sorry, stands up on her desk so she can address everyone. Like Dinah said, it's impossible. Right? She asks Dinah. Dinah stops trying to figure out plans and looks at Sylvie. Yes, unless we get a spaceship and I say we nag one and go to Neptune. Of course Neptune Lunar would want to go to Neptune. He was named after the planet. He stands on his desk also. A suitable crew, Dinah finishes, and I don't see anyone in this room able to operate a spaceship. Dinah has silenced the room, for no 8 to 9-year-olds would be able to operate anything as complicated as a spaceship if they can't even get multiplication down. Dinah smiles at her victory and sits down to read another 1,000-page science book. Then I say we sneak onto a ship. Neptune whispers among the group of people that want to go to space. Yeah, Billy smiles. That's illegal, you idiots. Lily Yoko, who's always rivaling against Dinah, reminds them while glaring at the said idiots. Ah, Lily, we didn't know you were listening, the group shakily replies. Of course they would be scared. Anyone who disagreed with Lily would get a book that she's reading at the time in their face, and right now she's carrying a huge law dictionary. Well, forget the plan. Ha ha ha. Good. Lily starts to turn away when she noticed something. Billy was smiling while quietly whispering, I won't forget. Poor Billy got a face full of law. Get her, she is defenseless, one person in the space group yells. The next thing Lily knew, she was locked up in the supply closet. Somehow, Billy felt like bait. Yo, this is bullying. Oh my god. You don't just lock a kid in a supply closet. What? Let me out of here! I'm gonna throw lots of books at you when you let me out! Lily screams while banging on the door. That won't help you get out, Lily! Callie came, who's the only girl on the space team, yells happily. You know, people don't like books thrown at them. It's Lily, not Lily, and I don't care what people like. Just get me out. Why is the no space team not helping me, you traitors? Lily screams. Sorry, but they're on the side of the room where you aren't. I think I meant where you aren't, Miss Gullible, and they won't. Oh, sorry, but they're on the side of the room where you are, Miss Gullible, and they won't let us pass, Dinah says almost smugly to her defeated rival. Dinah would never fall for such a stupid trick. Never leave yourself defenseless, Dinah would always remind Miss Gullible. But it was true. The space team took the side of the room that Lily was trapped in, while the no space team took the side with the windows. One girl, her name was Aisuki. Whoa. Her name was Aisuki. Like A-I Suki. Like, quite literally, let me take it. A-I Suki. Why did I name her this? Oh my god. God damn it. One girl, her name was Aisuki, tried to get to Lily, but the space team caught her. Sylvie stared at the floor briefly, then looks up with a gleam in her eye that Dinah couldn't put a name to. I want to go. Sylvie runs to the space team with a beautiful smile on her face that no one has seen before. Suddenly, all at once, Sylvie felt a huge weight on her shoulders that she's never noticed before just disappear. Curiosity and adventure, Dinah thought. That's what that gleam was. Suddenly, because of Sylvie, people from the No Space team unlocked their inner curiosity and adventure and decided to join the space team. Dinah, and technically Lily, were the only ones left on the No Space team. Everyone held their breath as Dinah crossed the room. I guess I have, to keep you people from killing yourselves, huh? And Dinah smiled, a sincere smile. Hey, you idiots, you're not going off to space and leaving me to read boring textbooks with teacher, are you? Lily yells while tapping the door with her foot. Of course not. Lily is my favorite idiot. Callie skips to the door and opens it. Slam. Apparently there was a book in the closet and Callie was Lily's first victim. That was for calling me Lily. Lily tossed the book over her shoulder. And an idiot. Sorry? Callie's eyes seem like they're going in circles and she has a hard time walking with the group. Neptune says, so where do we go to snag a spaceship? Everyone pauses and gawks at him. Wasn't he supposed to know how? It was his plan, a group of girls whisper. Honestly, what are you going to do without me? Dinah and Lily say the obvious together. They turn towards each other in disbelief. Brr, it's kind of cold in here, I says cluelessly. No kidding, Callie whispers and shivers. The kids stare at Dinah and Lily as they practically have lightning shooting out of their eyes at the other person. Yo, it's painfully obvious how much of a weeb I was with these stories. Oh my god. Okay. Don't copy me, Lily says, her hand aching for a book to throw. Now why would I copy you? You were copying me. Nuh-uh, yaha, nuh-uh, nuh-uh, yaha. It took Lily a while to realize her mistake. What? Ha ha ha. Dinah was laughing so hard she was on the floor crying. Shut up, we have to go. Lily flushes in embarrassment. To NASA, Billy yells. Yes, Neptune agrees. No. Lily composes herself. NASA's, or the National Aeronautics and Space Administration's closest branch, is 4.2 miles away from here, Lily says matter-of-factly as the group starts walking again. How far is that? I ask curiously. 1 hour and 22 minutes walking distance, Dinah says. Lily glares at Dina for a second and then says, yes, so we need to go right now, so we'll be back for supper, Billy declares. Why so close? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. For convenience, obviously. Got to go be back later if you still here. Thanks for stopping by, Zero. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, I doubt that, but okay, Lily says while glancing at the clock in the hallway. 1:43. The children exit the building in sigh relief. I can't believe we got out without anyone noticing, one says. Are you sure about that? Callie asks and sees the janitor run out of the building. Run, Sylvie yells in a state of panic. Oi, where are you kids going? You're going to get detention, the janitor chases after the winded kids. Where do we go? Billy asks. We have to turn right on 44th Street, Dina says. Right, Billy yells to the group. Then left on Columbus Avenue, Lily yells. Come back here, kids, the janitor yells. Okay, I highly doubt a janitor is gonna care about kids. The janitor is gonna be like, good, they're grubby, these grubby kids are leaving, finally, thank goodness. I don't care if they're all sneaking out of school. Left, Billy yells. Nah, you can't get us. Callie taunts the janitor. How do you even have enough energy to do that? I huffs. I don't know, Callie shrugs and takes out a jump rope and starts jumping and running. Oh, she's so extra. What the hell? I think we lost him, a kid says and slows down into a walk. Oh, good. Sylvie falls to the ground. Yeah, I lies next to Sylvie. Get up, you guys. We need to get going. Neptune pesters. Fine. An hour later, the kids find themselves huffing and puffing at NASA's Plum Brook Station. Mario Real, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. Welcome in. Right now, I'm just reading some of my old stories. Welcome in. Welcome. Okay. We made it, Billy says. We're going to space. Not quite, Dina reminds him. We still have to get inside and get a spaceship. Then let's go, Billy yells. Come on, Billy. Let us have a break. Callie, who has shown the most athleticism in the group, begs. An hour of walking and 22 minutes running have taken a toll on the athletic 9-year-old, but seem to show no signs with Billy. Nope, the last one in is a rotten egg, Billy yells and runs into the building. That idiot, Lily says while running after him with I and Callie right behind her. Wait, Dina yells. It's not good to split up. Dina sighs like the world had already failed her and turns around. Sylvie, oh, hydrate? I will. Okay, thank you. One sec. Let me hydrate. Just mute real quick. Thank you, Mario. I got a drink. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, she, Sylvie, Neptune, and the rest are all that's left. Dina thinks, I got a plan. 10 adults with security uniforms and sunglasses walk into Plum Brook Station. Ready, Dina? Sarah, a security guard asks. Yes, Rose, Sarah says. Let's catch those annoying little kids. Yeah, the group yells. Curious glances get thrown their way as they see the security guards, who are apparently all girls, cheering. Let's go, somebody says, and the guards stumble away. The boys carry the girls on their shoulders as we walk in with security guard uniforms, Dina starts. But why the boys? Adim Lope complains. Because you just went through weight training in gym and the girls didn't. I will measure the weight of someone and the weight of someone else, and the weight someone else can carry, so it will be easier for the boys. Girls. Dina turns towards the group of girls. Try to be easy passengers, even if you dislike the person you're teamed up with. Got a question? Oh, feel free to ask it anytime. No worries. I'll get around to it when I can. Okay, the girls agree. Dina looks around, doing quick equations in her head. First off, Neptune will carry Sylvie. Why? Neptune protests. Because Sylvie is light and you're weak. Dina says, Nuh-uh, I can carry a lot more than her, Neptune says while pointing at Sylvie. Sylvie seems about ready to punch Neptune when Dina says, then carry me. Steve will carry Sylvie. Fine then, Neptune says as Dina winks at Sylvie. The girl asks, where do we get the security uniforms? That moment, everyone saw an evil twinkle in Dina's eyes. We steal them. You're heavy, Neptune complains. Your fault for not carrying Sylvie, Dina shrugs while trying as hard as she can not to be an easy passenger. Oof, the security guards run into 3 people and tumble into the ground. Ow, watch it, a girl with long blonde hair hisses. Hi, Lily, Sylvie says sheepishly. Oh, Halloween or Christmas? Oh, that's a good one. I like them both for different reasons. Personally, I like Halloween because I like scary games. And it gives me a good excuse to play a bunch of scary games that have been on my list for a while. So yeah. Okay, alright, next one. And I'm gonna continue. Okay. What are you guys doing here, Steve Levu? Leave? Steve Leave. I'm just gonna call him Steve Leave. Steve Leave asked Callie. Billy got in. Callie starts. We were waiting for a good chance to get in. Dinah? Callie turns towards the said brunette. Got any ideas? Dana thinks for a second. I say we get as close as we can, and when they're about to close the spaceship door, we run in. I will have groups at different places close to the launch pad, and when I drop this, Dana holds up a handkerchief. You will run as fast as you can to the door. No pushing past the person in front of you. Got it? Kinda, I says. What are the groups? Fastest in the back, so Dana furrowed her eyebrows. Callie, Sylvie, and Deem in the back. Then Steve, I, and me. The kids move into the positions Dinah orders them to, and they wait for Dinah to drop her handkerchief. The doors begin to close as the students watch the handkerchief slide from Dinah's grip. And they run. Fast, encouraging the person in front of them to go faster. We made it, Callie high-fives Sylvie with a sigh of relief. Shh, Lily whispers. We can't make any noise or be seen until they start going into space, otherwise they'd kick us off. Yes, Dana says, we need to lay low for a bit. Where's Neptune? He went down that hallway a little bit ago, Dean points to his left. That idiot, Lily mutters. Come on, we need to go get him and find Billy. Billy, the students hear Neptune call and start running towards the noise. Lily leads the group stealthily into the fifth door on the right, where they see Neptune and Billy snacking by a mountain of food. What are you doing? Lily exclaims. Eating, Billy says between bites of his sandwich. They've got lots if you want some. Yeah, Neptune agrees. Stop that, Lily slaps Billy's hands as he tries to get something else to eat. 10, a loud mechanical voice starts. Guess they're starting the countdown, Kelly says. 9. That means we've gone unnoticed, Sylvie says. 8. Awesome, Neptune cheers. 7. We're going to space, Billy yells. 6. Yes, it would seem that way, Lily says, a smile spreading on her face. 5. The students hold their breath. 4. 3, 2, 1. The students cheer in unison. Afterwards, there's some happy silence when I suddenly says what's been bothering her. I wonder why there's so much food here. We, as in Callie, Lily, and I, were watching for a while, and there shouldn't be this many people to feed with this much food. Oh, thanks for stopping by, Mario. Thank you. Have a good nap. Bye-bye. You're right, Lily says. This amount of food could feed about 1,000 people for a year. Aliens, Dinah says almost apathetically. What? The kids gawk at Dinah, who's quietly looking through the food. Say humans were left on a planet like Mars and forced to adapt to the gases, lacks of oxygen, food, water, gravity. They would grow immunities and maybe look a lot different than they normally were. Maybe a little greenish, causing people to mistake them as a fictional creature alien. But these aliens are still human-like. They would need nutrients that you can only get from food if they survive on the planet. Dana explains. Do you get it now? So you're saying this food is for aliens that are actually humans forced to live on other planets. But why? Kelly asks. For experiments. Lily, who was the only person other than Dinah that understood Dinah's reasoning, says. What? Sylvie shakes. But that's just too cruel. They wouldn't do that. Never underestimate the cruelty of the government. Curiosity is what drives people into madness. This took a turn. Lily says grimly. Then why would they bring food to them? Neptune asks. They don't want all their test subjects to die, do they? Lily asks. No, I guess not, Neptune says. Well, Dinah says after a long silence, we should probably eat. Yay, Kelly yells and grab a banana she's been eyeing. Why would they bring a banana to space? That would go bad so quickly. What? This is getting SCP levels. It kind of is. Okay. Where do you think we're going? I ask. To Neptune, Neptune cheers. Shut up, Neptune, Lily says. suddenly getting a teleporting book in her hand. We're luckily they had a flight today. Actually, the only planned flight for this week was on Friday. Of course, they wouldn't have this flight planned. What is that? Billy asked Dinah as she starts writing purple symbols in the air with her pointer finger. Oh my god, this got anime. Dinah barely acknowledges him as she concentrates on the odd symbols. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a purple chest appears. Is this, Lily gasps, a Yume chest? Yes, Dinah says. What's a Yume chest? Callie asks. It's a chest that if you call it, it will teleport you to no matter where you are. Lily explains. It costs... Oh my god. How many... That's thousand, that's million, that's billion. Okay, 9,999,000,000 yen, only available in Japan. Lily points at Dinah. How did you get something so expensive? Heh. Dinah smiles evilly. A magician never reveals their secrets. Could she, a group whispers and shivers, actually be evil? Anyways, Dinah opens the chest and pulls out weird bubble things. These are bubbles that act like gills, so air can get through them. They're soap bubbles that you put over your body so you can breathe in water or space. But I warn you, Dinah stares at the group of gawking students. Don't go through it too many times. Why? Billy asks. Well, normally if you were to go through it, it would pop back together. But if you go through it too many times, it could break, Dinah says. Oh, Kelly says, then yawns. Well, I'm going to bed night. And she's out. Yes, Sylvie says, I think we should go to bed. We should be fine in this room, so let's sleep, Lily agrees. We're finally here, Billy says. Okay, I think this is supposed to be like a line break or something. Anyways, meaning I don't want to fix this writing. Yeah, it's not good. Alright, we're finally here, Billy says, his eyes lighting up. A week after the kids fell asleep. At Neptune, Neptune cheers. No, we're at Pluto. We passed Neptune a day ago, Lily says. The students are following the astronauts as they carry huge amounts of food somewhere. When they finally found where they were going, the students couldn't believe their eyes. Dinah was right. There was a huge community of smallish green humans. How fast are they going? They're going really fast, I guess. I don't know. It's suddenly fantasy sci-fi story. Don't tell anyone, Lily says. What? I says. Think of what would happen if people were to find this out, Lily starts. Fear and curiosity would spread. It would be horrible, and most people wouldn't even believe you. So, also, when we get back, if anyone asks you where you were for the past 2 weeks, say you decided to go camping on your own or something, okay? Okay, the group agrees. This will be our own little secret. And that's the end. That story really went off the rails. I feel it really went off the rails, but it's kind of cute. Okay, I'm gonna. I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for you meddling kids. Yeah, it has that Scooby-Doo energy. It really does. Okay, alright. I'm going to get a drink of water first. One sec. Okay. Oh god, this is another old one. This is another old, not so good one. Kind of weebish one. It has a cliffhanger. There. That's my content warning. Alright, let's go on. It's called Perpetual Arcana. And I think I wrote like 2 chapters in this. A little bit. I wrote a little bit. Alright, chapter 1 is called The Dog. Arcana couldn't understand them. People who were okay with boring, mundane lives and would turn down the danger of an adventure. She was sure that even if there was lots of dangers in some mystical adventure, she'd take it. Something to break the cycle of her boring life, at least. But she had given up on that. She had accepted that nothing interesting would happen in her life. Perhaps that's when it starts. With the acceptance of mundane life, the supernatural comes. Arcana, she heard her brother call her from the first floor. She ran out of her room and to the stairs where her brother was standing, looking as smug as ever. What? She asked sharply. The two of them never got along. Jack's back, he said with a smirk. You really like him. I'll put a sock in it. Arcana yelled as she basically jumped down the stairs, but even though she wanted to keep up a normal expression, she couldn't help but smile. She ran straight to the door. Standing in the carpeted entrance was her stepbrother, Jack. What was with me? Yo! Why did I keep naming people their same first name and last name? Why did I do this? Why? Why did I name them? Why did I have them have the same first name and last name? Was I this bad at coming up with names? Jack. Yeah, it's Jack. I can't believe this right now. Okay. Alright. Who is more of a brother than her full nun. They shared common interests in reading, video games, adventures, and supernatural things. Her brother remarried to his father, and Arcana liked her new father and brother more than her biological ones, so she decided to change her last name to Jack. Jack, a wide grin appeared on Arcana's face, and she jumped up and hugged him. He had been at a pre-college program for a week. Whoa, he backed up. Who are you? He had a good reason for saying that. While he was gone, she had dyed her hair white and put in red contacts to make her look like an albino. What a weeb. Oh my god, what a weeb. Before, she had brown hair and eyes. This is so bad. I feel like I'm caught in 4K. Caught in 4K with how much of a weeb I was before. Okay. Arcana laughed. See, if you leave for a week, I punish you by dyeing my hair and putting in contacts. Look, my hair. I said anime to be kind of sexy, but why would you imitate that in real life? Oh my god. I can see that. Jack laughed as well. Summer heat getting to you? Something like that, she smiled. Hey, you hungry? I can warm up leftovers. That'd be nice, Jack said as he collapsed on the couch. Arcana walked out of the room while listening to him say, I'm melting. She knew what he meant. It was 87 degrees outside, rather hot for the mild temperatures they were used to, and she was wearing a tank top and the shortest shorts she had. Yo, skimpy. She's showing so much skin. Oh my god. Okay. Arcana put the leftovers on a plate, some spaghetti and meatballs, stuck it in the microwave, and pushed in a random number. She sat on her counter and tried adjusting her braid, but no matter what she tried, lots of strands stuck out. She sighed and gave in, and instead started fanning herself, since her family has never had an AC and only had 3 small fans around the house. Beep, beep, beep. The microwave went off, and Arcana stood up to go get the food, and she opened the microwave door. This was what she expected. The spaghetti to be nice and cooked, for her to give it to Jack, for them to talk a little, and her to continue her mundane life. But that didn't happen. Instead, she saw a dog. Not a hot dog. Oh my god. Not a cooked dead dog. Oh my god, why would I write that? But a wolf-like dog. It opened its mouth real wide, undoggably wide. It launched itself at Arcana and swallowed her whole. When she opened her eyes, she was very confused, to say the least. For one, she was alive, no dog slobber on her, but there was periodic cold feelings all over her body, almost like rain. What a smash, girl. Thanks for the follow. Welcome in, welcome. Right now, I'm just reading some of my old stories. Hydrate? Okay, I'll hydrate real quick. 1 sec. Alright, I hydrated. Thank you. Okay. And for 2, this was definitely not her home. She knew that. It was a field of snow as far as she could see, and snow was falling, and Arcana was suddenly cold, very cold. Her bare feet stung. Is this real? Arcana wondered. I know I was wishing for it to be cold, but not this cold. But then suddenly happiness came to her. This already feels like an adventure. She couldn't even pinch herself to see if she was dreaming. If I'm dreaming, let me dream. But then her legs felt heavy, and she froze up. It wasn't from the cold, but from fear. There were people behind her, she noticed. A lot of them. She reluctantly turned. Hands up, Anne Carrion. That. Hands up, Anne Carrion, one person shouted with a brusque? Is that how it's pronounced? Brusque? I don't know. Male voice. There were 15 people clothed in 2 layers of armor, leather and metal, the leather showing a little bit under the metal. There was a similar painting of a wolf-like dog on each person's helm. They were holding steel swords up, and about half went and circled around her back. They must be soldiers or peacekeepers or something, Arcana thought, rather calmly as she raised her hands in surrender. Was it because I was trespassing? But then what does Ancarian mean? The one that previously shouted at her walked forward and pulled out rope from who knows where and tied her hands with it. She found they were rather sketchy. Follow, the brusque soldier ordered, and the other soldiers started marching towards a mass of buildings she hadn't noticed before. Arcana in the middle. He must be the leader, she decided. They can at least treat their arrestee to some warm clothes, Arcana thought bitterly. Her tank top and shorts did nothing against the biting cold, thin wind, and wet snow. She was shivering uncontrollably, just waiting to get to the mass of buildings and curl up in her warm prison cell. Wait, did I just want to be in jail? No, I refuse. Her defiance helped her tolerate the cold for a little bit. Thankfully, they quickly got to the city, and she was marched into a warm building. The building from the outside looked plain. It was made of white snow, as was all the buildings, or white stone, as was all of the buildings, she noticed, and had no windows and only one entrance. It was a bit bigger than the other buildings around it, but was only 1 story. However, the inside looked rather homely. There was a hallway that had red walls and a white carpet, which felt nice under Arcana's cold, bare feet, and on the red walls that seemed to radiate heat were paintings and labels of various soldiers that she didn't know. This isn't my world, Arcana was reminded, even though she felt bad for leaving Jack behind. I didn't like being arrested. She was happy for something new. But before Arcana could rejoice, they dragged her into a room with inside green walls and sat her down on an uncomfortable wooden chair. She briefly wondered what happened to the 10 other soldiers, since only 5 of them were in the room with her, but the thought was halted when the leader spoke up. Are you cold? The gruff man asked, sitting in a similar chair across from her and removing his helm to reveal the muscular face Arcana expected to come from such a burly man. You just noticed? Her slightly eviler side almost answered, but she pushed it away and instead said, Yes, can I get warmer clothes? The leader waved towards one of the 4 men lingering by the door, and they walked out. He then turned back towards Arcana. He sat with such stature, aura, and dignity that Arcana could only assume he was of high rank in this military. Where did you come from? He asked, his brusque voice resounding in the quiet room. Arcana decided to answer truthfully when she said, My kitchen. I was swallowed by a dog. Her crude humor surprised the 3 soldiers by the doorway. She caught one whispering, Another crazy one. Let's hope there's no trouble. To which the other agreed with a quick nod. The leader chuckled awkwardly, an odd noise like chorus of crows cackling, adding up to be very bizarre. 2 soldiers came in, one who gave Arcana a pile of clothes and another that whispered something to the leader, who widened his narrowed eyes before resuming his previous authoritative expression and nodded. Sorry, Arcana snapped her head up when she realized that the soldier that gave her the pile of clothes was stalking. He was a smaller lad, probably just a boy, and his armor and helm were too big for him. This is the only clothes we have for a girl on short notice. They may be a bit short. I had to get it from my little sister. He laughed awkwardly, which was a lot more pleasant than his gruff leaders, and walked back towards the guards at the door. Arcana allowed a small but grim smile settle on her face as she imagined the boy's fate. He probably entered the military to provide for his family, or because of a draft, or because he was forced to. Either way, he was facing death every day. He's too young to die. Get Jess, the leader addressed Arcana, gruff as always. We'll be bringing you to the Queen, where you'll get executed. Her mouth flew open in protest, and she stuttered. Executed? Me? What did I do? The leader seemed confused at her protest. Because you're an Ancarian. And with that he stood up and left her sitting there in shock. The soldiers followed him out of the door, except for the boy soldier who stayed long enough to untie the rope around Arcana's hands. The second the lad left, she started planning escape, but the green room had no windows and only 1 door. This room, like the hallway, had paintings and articles about people who didn't concern her in plain wooden frames. She checked under those. Nothing. Since she didn't want her first adventure to end in execution, she even resorted to pinching herself. Nothing. Of course not. The heroes and heroines of stories can't get out of their fates this easily, she thought. Sighing, she looked at the pile of clothes she never let go of and decided to just put them on. Long-sleeve white dress, black pants, brown boots, a red-brown furry cape, and white earmuffs. That was what Arcana was wearing after she changed. They were a little bit small, but still relatively comfy. Not exactly the best clothes for an execution, she thought grimly. Are you done yet? The leader asked, sounding rather impatient. Yes, Arcana said, and the door opened. 6 soldiers surrounded her, and they marched out of the building. Once outside, all of the soldiers drew their swords and walked her towards what looked to be the center of the snowy city. She contemplated sneak attacking one of the guards since her hands were unbound, but the stakes were too high. I'll just have to wait for a different time to escape. But now she could see the center of the city. There was a white mansion, and in the front yard of that mansion was a snowy wooden stage. Even the wood on the stage was white. Hold out your arm. Arcana was startled by the gruff voice of the leader. He didn't seem to belong with the silence and the snow, but she was forced to reluctantly hold out her left arm. The leader pulled out a syringe full of some shiny liquid from who knows where and shot into her arm. Then they marched up to the stage and onto the creaky wood above. Creaky wood? Okay. I have no idea what that syringe thing was about. I don't remember that. I don't think I ever clarified that. I have no idea. Okay. Chapter 2. The Sunset That Steals Souls. If the wood's this creaky, then maybe if I put a lot of pressure on it, Arcana thought, making herself into dead weight and walking harder. This is like the most bullshit escape ever. So like, listen to this with like a lot of imagination. Cause this is all bogus, okay? Like, just pretend like this works. Alright. At the end of the stage where the soldier stopped her, she was forced to only subtly put weight on the wood, which was pretty hard since the wood creaked. But it was probably the only way to escape. She hoped there wasn't much under the stage, or it would all be for naught. Arcana watched as person by person the area around the stage was filled up with citizens. They all had thick coats, brown hair and eyes, and curious expressions. They all chatted amongst themselves. After the area seemed full... Oh wait, I don't think I wrote this right, but anyways. After the area seemed full of spectators, the noise was reaching a maximum. Someone stepped out of the mansion. He was a lean man with brown hair and eyes, like almost everyone else there, and clad with a padded butler outfit. Quiet, he commanded the crowd, and they became dead silent. Arcana had to stop her pushing the stage since it was too quiet to attract... Too loud to attract attention? Oh, too quiet to attract attention away from herself. I see. Oh my god, I'm struggling. Here she is, Her Majesty the Queen, the butler announced, and the door to the mansion started opening. When Arcana shouted, "Wait!" everyone turned towards her. The door opening halted. "Wait a darn second," Arcana yelled quieter. "I don't see how this is fair." She stomped her foot down. There was a small but distinctive crack. She almost smirked. For one, what does Ancarian mean? She kicked the stage, feigning frustration. The crowd stared at her. "I demand a fair court." She jumped up and flew down like a missile. "I demand justice." And there was a multitude of cracks. And Arcana sunk a little before falling under the stage after the wood and snow. Arcana looked around quick, excited. She could hear panicked voices above, and despite her own panic, she allowed a smirk to plant itself on her face. Then she noticed a door to her left, illuminated by the light of the hole Arcana made. She ran into it, opened it only to find startled faces of the crowd, their brown eyes wide. Quickly she pushed her way through the crowd, causing most to scream, and in the opposite direction of the center of the city. I think, and run in that? I didn't write this part that well. She ran back to the way she came after being swallowed by the dog. Even though her lungs were winded, her sides and knees hurt, and the fact that she was getting very cold again, she ran. Because she denied with all her being that she was going to die there, so she ran. And when she finally stopped for her breath, she was surrounded by snow. Falling snow. Fields of snow. She was getting sick of the color white. Then she turned around to see if anyone was following her still. There was only her clearly visible footsteps, leading back all the way back to the city that was only a shadow from that distance. Then Arcana turned back to see the most beautiful thing. The sun she had hardly noticed before was setting, right in front of her. The sun was much closer than she was used to, but it didn't hurt her eyes, and she had a clear view of the large red-orange sun that seemed to be spreading its colors across the horizon. The sight was a breathtaking view compared to the white snow. Arcana felt all her troubles going away just watching it. "Stop!" someone yelled, and Arcana turned, alert. She turned, rigid and ready to run away if it was a soldier, but instead she saw a girl running towards her. The girl was tall, clothed in an army green jacket, and most shockingly, had white hair and red eyes similar to Arcana's, also styled in a braid. The girl was around her age, maybe older. "Don't look at the sunset for too long," the girl said when she was in front of Arcana. That was when she noticed there was an odd scar or tattoo on the girl's left cheek. "Why not?" Arcana inquired. "It's laced with magic," she said, almost casually. "It's called the sunset that seals souls. It'll wipe your memory clean." Arcana had a feeling of confusion before it was replaced by panic and then replaced by amusement. "So there's magic here, huh? Thanks." "Yeah," the girl nodded, not seeming confused at all. "But I'm surprised. I didn't know any Ancarians were out of hiding." Arcana furrowed her eyebrows. "Yeah, I've been hearing Ancarian a lot lately. What does it mean? I'm not from here." "You don't know what race you're in?" The girl giggled a little bit while holding an odd, confused look on her face. "Walk with me. I'll explain." "Where are you going to take me?" Arcana asked. "A safe place, I promise," the girl said, and started walking across the fields of snow. Arcana shrugged and followed. "There were 2 countries," she began. "Kenna and Ancaria. They were both self-sufficient countries, so they had nothing to do with each other. Kennans have brown hair and eyes, and Carians have white hair and red eyes." Anyways, one day the current queen of Kenna found out that Ancarian's blood holds the ability to use magic. We can't really use it ourselves, but others can. So a war began. But we're a peace-loving kind, with no military of any kind, so the result was already decided. Many were killed for the comfort of the Kennans. Some are kept for reproduction. A little bit are in hiding. I'm staying with 8 other Ancarians. She finished her story with a sigh and a grim smile. Arcana blinked, almost tripping. It was a lot to take in. "So what happened to Ancaria, the country I mean?" "It became part of Kenna, where we are right now," the Ancarian girl answered. "So we're in Ancaria." "Yes, our land is a land of perpetual winter, so if you find yourself out of snow, you're in a different country." "Huh," she muttered before trying to figure out if it was scientifically possible. "Bah, who cares? This world is sad, but great." My name's Azalea," the Ancarian said with a wide smile, despite the previous conversation. This girl's all smiles, Arcana thought, with a smile herself. "I'm Arcana. Nice to meet you," Azalea said, distracted. She suddenly stopped, muttering, "It's somewhere around here," for bending down and lifting up a white handle hidden in the snow, revealing a lighted staircase. "Here we are. This is our base." Arcana stared at the staircase blankly. "Well, go on," Azalea urged, and Arcana walked down the stairs, her footsteps echoing. The trapdoor closed with a loud bang, and Azalea started running down the stairs. The stairs were curved, so Arcana had no idea what she would see at the bottom until she got there. Arcana stared at a large hall. The room was curved with various abstract paintings of red and white, with walls dotted with symmetrical pillars for support and a few doors here and there. The floor was a glassy tan color that reflected the ceiling, and the 7 people eating on the ground with blankets around them. She looked at them individually. There were 2 small kids, a girl and a boy, who were fighting for some bread when an elderly woman walked up to them and divided the bread evenly so they stopped fighting. Across from them was a grown woman and a grown man, both holding and feeding a baby each. Then at the end of the hall, a boy sat with authority, seemingly already finished his meal. He was just sitting and staring at Arcana. They all had white hair and red eyes, and everyone's hair was styled in a braid in one way or another. "I'm back, Zal," Azalea announced, jumping down the rest of the stairs and standing next to Arcana. The boy at the end glanced up at her. "You were right." "Of course I was," the boy Zal said. "Do you doubt my powers?" The 7 eating paused, as stared at Arcana in wonder. "No, I believe you." Then she addressed the whole room of people. "Everyone, this is Arcana, a fellow Ancarian that will be staying with us." Azalea nudged her and whispered, "Say hi." Hi," Arcana said out of instinct before thinking with shock. "Wait, did Azalea just say I'll be staying with them? When did I get a say in this?" Then, in almost unison, the Ancarians that were previously eating bounced up and introduced themselves to Arcana. Of the small kids that were fighting for the bread, the girl was named Anna, and the boy Jap. The old woman that stopped them was called Ruby. The woman and man were named Ruth and Jess, and they were married. They were holding their twin babies, Cal and Aliad. Once everyone introduced themselves, they dragged Arcana into the hall, and Jap enthusiastically asked the boy Zell, "Is it alright if she eats with us?" Zell's usual authoritative expression softened toward the kid, and he said, "Of course, another Ankarian is always welcome." "Yay!" Anna cheered and dragged Arcana down to sitting level. "But she seems different," Azalea said. "She isn't from here, but isn't an Ankarian." The married couple, Ruth and Jess, set a plate with odd-shaped fruits and bread in front of Arcana. But she was so hungry she didn't pay attention to what Azalea was saying and how weird the food looked, and was about to dig in when Zell said, "I understand. Can we talk alone, Arcana?" "Me?" She looked up in surprise. "Yes, come with me." He stood up, and that was when Arcana saw how young he was. He couldn't have been a day older than Arcana. Why does it seem like a kid is leading them? Aren't there plenty of adults to take the job? And what did he mean by power before? More questions than answers in this world, aren't there? Arcana thought as she got up with a barely noticeable frown. "Shall I come too?" Azalea asked. "No, keep watch," Zell ordered, and led Arcana through a door, one on the far right corner of the hall. There was another hall, not as large as the one they were just in, but a simple red hall with only a door at the end. They went through that door, and Arcana found herself in a white garden. There were white fruit trees and bushes, white flowers, herbs, and vines, all growing from the brown dirt in the room. There were waterways in the walls and ground that fed into the plant for nutrients. That place was the last place she expected to be taken. The Ankarians have always been self-sufficient. We grow our food underground, and because of recent events, we've had to live down here too. I'm sure Azalea's told you about it," Zell said. "Yes, about the war," Arcana said, looking down. "Yeah." He walked up to a fruit tree and climbed up a white ladder that seemed to blend into the tree. He reached towards one of the fruits, but we try not to let it get us down. He succeeded in grabbing 2 fruits from the tree and tossed one down to Arcana as he jumped down. Oh my gosh. How many times did I say down in that sentence? "Here, try it." She stared at the odd fruit in her hands. It kind of looked like an apple, but had a white background with gray dots on it, like snow. "What is it?" "A snowball. Try it," he said as he casually leaned against the tree. Arcana took a tentative bite out of it. It tasted like an apple, but it was as if it was doused in sugar, making it into a really overwhelming taste. But Arcana was hungry and didn't want to be rude, so she continued eating. Anyways, Zell took a bite of the snowball he had before continuing. "I wanted to ask you where you came from." Arcana thought for a bit before saying, a far way away. It was vague, but she doubted he would believe the truth. "Are you from another world?" Arcana paused. She decided to be truthful. "Yes, I was in my kitchen when a dog ate me." "Dog? Then it must be one of the Queen's hounds." "What?" Zell straightened up and said, "I have a spy in the Kennons, and he says that the Queen of the Kennons, who led the attack against the Ankarians, desired more magic, so she started using her hounds, which are magical beasts she created, to get Ankarians from other worlds like you." "What? So that's how I got here?" Arcana asked. "Yeah, and you'd have to talk to the Queen about getting back, but I doubt you'd stay alive." Well, if you really wanted to get back, Arcana didn't really want to get back to her boring life, but she asked anyways. "What?" "Some Ankarians can use magic, and not using any blood, but it's difficult to maintain. You see, I'm one of the handful of Ankarians that can use magic," Zell said. Her jaw almost dropped. "You can?" "Yes, I can see into the future." Seriously, another guy that can see into the future? Okay. "Is Zell?" Azalea burst into the garden room, panting. "It's—" Zell didn't seem fazed when he asked, "What's wrong?" "What's going on? Is it the Kennons?" Arcana thought, more in a panic than she thought she could be in. Azalea took a breath before saying, "It's Gel." Zell nodded and said, "Let's go," before fast-walking with Azalea and Arcana to the entrance. Standing at the end of the spiral staircase, a boy almost identical to Zell, except he was far more pale, ragged, and frostbitten, stared at the residents in front of him firmly. They were all saying, "Gel, I thought you were dead." But then Gel noticed Zell and said sternly, "I don't know what he told you, but I'm Zell. He's Gel." Chapter 3, The Hate. That's it. That's all I wrote. Let's go. I'm sorry, that's all I wrote. That's it. That's the cliffhanger. That's it. That's all I have. Okay, I'm gonna drink water. That's it. I don't remember anything else about that story. I'm sorry, I don't remember. I don't remember what happens next. I have no idea. Okay, I think I'm gonna do one more. One more and then I'm gonna stop. Cause I've already been streaming for 3 hours. Okay. Alright, this one, I mentioned this one on stream before, okay? I actually mentioned this one on stream. I talked about it before. Let's see. It's actually doesn't have a cliffhanger or anything like that. It's actually, there we go. I mentioned before about how I had to write a story about octopus and how I learned that the plural of octopus can either be octopuses or octopi because of the story. And I know I got a lot of weird looks, like, excuse me, why do you know that and whatnot? And it's because of this story, and you're gonna see here. It's just an innocent story, don't worry. Don't worry. But this is my story with the octopi. So, look forward to it. It's called Taco Bane. Alright. I actually really like this one. So, okay, it's kinda long though, but oh well. Alright. This is a story that happened light years away from us on a planet called Bolvin, in the Chickadee Galaxy. Bolvin was a planet where laser guns, magic, and even octopi in space were possible. This adventure, for it was an adventure, started only 100 yards away from the Windmile Castle, where the monarchy of all of Bolvin lived. One of the princesses of the castle, Princess Dahlia, was watching someone with a pointed hat and a staff and a laser gun fighting a flying pink octopus. He was called Air, was an apprentice wizard, and young Dahlia's closest friend. Dahlia felt something wrong as she watched her friend. He was using only his laser gun, while his staff rested in his left hand, unused. As an apprentice wizard, he was urged to almost always use magic. Dahlia wondered if he at least had protective wards around him, but when the octopus grabbed Air's leg with its tentacle, she casted the idea away. Air shot the tentacle that was wrapped around his leg and shot it again as it was writhing in pain. When the octopus didn't move for a minute or two, Dahlia ran up to him. "Oh, hi, Dahlia," Air greeted. "Aren't you busy today?" "I would have been," she flipped back her silver hair, "but nobody wanted to teach me. Everyone's been so lazy and careless since the beginning of this war." "So you just left?" "Yep." He smiled. Dahlia changed the subject. "Why weren't you using your magic in that fight?" "My teacher said I shouldn't rely on just magic, and that for now I should just use my laser gun." Air flipped open the top of his gun and held it away from himself. It glowed a soft white for a few seconds before fading away. The SFMF Laser Gun 5 was made to have infinite ammunition. If you flipped up the cover on top of the gun, like Air just did, and held it to the starry sky, the stars themselves would charge the gun back up. "Oh, okay, in that case, can I try to use magic again?" Dahlia asked, hopefully, her amber eyes shining. "Go right ahead. Here you go." Air handed her his staff. Dahlia sat down with the staff straight in front of her. Air's staff was a miniature one, so it reached to a little bit above her nose in her position. What was the incantation again? For what spell? The flashlight. Oh man, I have to read this out. I really made a fictional language for this short story. Licat Pelo, Interlicat Pe Larha, Har Starven, he chanted, and a little bit above the staff a bright white light appeared. Can't believe you threw away the last minute plot device of reloading in the middle of that. Come on now. I wouldn't do that. Okay. "Wow, you weren't even holding the staff." Dahlia was excited, but she had to look away from the light. Bolvin didn't have a sun, so even though they did have means to light places, too bright of a light could blind them. Air put out his light. "Aw, but why does the incantation have to be in Laurelian? Laurelian? I don't know how I would even pronounce this." She huffed, staring back at the staff. "It makes it hard to memorize it. What does it mean exactly?" Air furrowed his eyebrows. "It's hard to translate it literally, but it basically is, on a man's eyelash, on a human's eye, let there be light." "Alright." And Dahlia chanted the incantation, and a tiny white dot appeared above the staff, but before long it exploded and there was nothing. "Huh?" she explained. Air sat down next to her and instructed, "You need to have a calm and strong mind for magic. You need to concentrate." "I'm trying," she said, glaring at the staff. "There's no try. Do or don't. You sound like your master." And Dahlia kept on trying, with Air giving her advice. Afterwards, Dahlia dragged herself back to Windmile Castle, thoroughly exhausted. Unlike the laser guns, which took their energy from the stars, magic took their energy from the user. And although a flashlight was the simplest of simple spells, Dahlia was a novice and way too sheltered to have much stamina, so it took a toll on her. She collapsed on her pink bed, depressed. She didn't manage to keep the light for more than a few seconds. Dahlia thought that maybe she could learn magic too, since there was nothing else for her to really do, but after that day, she wasn't too sure. Then she heard a knock on her door. Alright, this is the flashback now. "Ow, ow," the little boy complained, so she stepped away. "Why are your ears not pointy, and your hair is black, and your eyes are brown? Are you an alien?" She was really curious. "I am not," the boy replied, rubbing his irritated ear. The little girl was suddenly dragged back by her father. "I'm sorry," he bowed to a tall, round-eared man that was behind the boy. The girl was appalled. Her father was the brother of the king, so why was he bowing to these people? "Raise your head. The only one offended here is this boy, and the one that should be apologizing is your girl." The tall man leaned down and gave her a hard look. He was young-looking, younger-looking than her father, with no wrinkles to be seen, and there was a pointy, white-rimmed hat on his head. She stared back at him, but quickly faltered and turned toward the boy. "I'm sorry I jumped on you and started pulling on your ear." "That's a good girl," the tall man patted the girl's silver hair and stood back up. "So who is your boy, Hilf?" her dad asked the tall man. "This is Air. He's from Earth, like me. He is my new apprentice," Hilf said. "Earth!" the girl exclaimed. She's read more books than she could count about Earth. "The place with all the humans? Cool!" The girl struggled out of her father's hold and jumped in front of Air. "I'm Dahlia. Be my friend." The boy jumped and stared at her wide eyes for a few seconds before stuttering. Okay, my mom said I should make friends here, so okay." "Yay," Dahlia cheered. Please don't jump on me again," she giggled. "Okay." They stayed in the park for a while longer, chatting, but soon Dahlia and her father had to leave, and she cried that she didn't want to go, so her father had to carry her. "Hey, Daddy." Dahlia was calmed down now and currently poking the floating rings around her father's elf ears. Her ears were still small and barely had one ring around each, while her father had 2 rings around and a floating ball on each ear. "Yes, Fairy?" "Why did you bow to that that elf man?" "Well, that's because we owe a lot to wizards, especially Hilf," he replied. "Why is that?" Her father pointed to a street lamp. They made stuff for us, like that. A wizard made that a long time ago for us to use." "Cool. Does that mean Air will be able to do that when he gets good enough?" Dahlia asked. Her father chuckled, "Maybe," and then the exhausted little girl fell to sleep with a smile on her face. Alright, back to present time. Air was focused on his magic. He wanted to make it so that there was light and dark magic circling around each other, but never touching. If he messed that up, it would be very bad. So he was practicing with just using fire and water. Hey, someone called from behind him and his concentration was lost. His magic fell and a lot of smoke flew up. Air turned, annoyed, but when he saw Dahlia, he lightened up. "Hey, Dahlia, what's up?" he asked when she came close. He was especially curious why she had a backpack on. "Have you ever heard of the Four-Font Book?" she asked right away, sitting next to Air. "No." "Have you heard of the spell book?" Dahlia then asked. "Yes, of course," Air replied. No wizard or wizard-to-be hadn't. A spell book was a book with one or multiple spells written in the ancient language of Lorelei. Spellbooks were rare in Bolvin, but on Earth, where Lorelean originated, they were pretty common. "Well, the Forefront Book is a spell book," Dahlia continued on. "It has spells on giving people motivation. I think it could help everyone not be so lazy." "Oh, so you want to get it?" she nodded. "But where is it?" "Taco, the leader of the Octopi, has it. He's in the Eastern Caverns, that way." Dahlia pointed straight in front of her. The way she pointed was indeed east. She had a good sense of direction, as did all elves, and that would help her in the future, but never mind that for now. Wait, what? Octopi read? I don't know. Maybe. I think they talk. But I don't know. They might read. What? Then I'd have to defeat Taco to get it. I can't defeat Taco. And how did you get all this information anyways? Air turns towards her. I believe in you, Air. You're not like you were when we first met. You're strong now. So let's go. She stood up and dragged him up with her. Right now? Air asked. Right now, Dahlia confirmed. She signaled to her backpack. I have supplies for a 2-day trip, and everybody is too lazy to stop us, so why not? All right. And they set off. They were able to get through the marketplace, the park, and the residential district without being noticed. They stopped right before the edge of town and watched a guard yawn, obviously bored. The guard turned, and they were able to get out easily enough. As they walked through the plains outside of the town, Dahlia was staring at Air's pointy hat in silence. It reminded her of a long time ago. Bear Blue Peach, Air chanted with his long staff. It was long for him at the time. Held in front of him. A red shape that resembled a cat appeared above his staff. Dahlia cheered. Now, if you keep practicing like that, you'll be able to make it more realistic instead of just one color, and be able to make it move and talk, Hilf said. Cool, Dahlia cheered again. You have proven yourself as my apprentice, Hilf declared. Air stared up at him. Here, to commemorate the occasion, his master took out a pointy hat and held it towards Air. Will you take on this apprenticeship and learn magic? Little Air took the hat and put it on his hat, although it was much too big and covered his eyes. I'm gonna be a great wizard. So cool, Dahlia ran up to the two and jumped on Air, causing him to collapse. I want a wizard hat. I want to be cool too. Air groaned. I thought you promised not to jump on me again. Back in the plain, Dahlia turned away from Air, feeling embarrassed. Quite some time passed as they walked through the plains and into a meadow, and the lights began fading. Although Bolvin had no sun, there were other ways to tell what time of day it was. In the city, the streetlights dimmed the later it got. In plains and meadows, the grass and flowers glowed during the day. When fish were actually in the water and not flying around, they glowed too. But there were places that were completely dark, like caves and snowy places. So the lights and the flowers in the meadow were faded quite a bit, and the two thought they should probably settle down for the night soon. That was when Dahlia, who was walking behind Air, felt a sudden weight on her back and bumped into Air. He dropped his staff in surprise. They both turned around at the same time to see a flying octopus. As quickly as he could, Air whipped out his laser gun and shot it in the head. The octopus screamed, a really horrid sound if you've never heard an octopus scream, and a lot of pink dots appeared in the distance behind it. It called for friends, Air said, and looked around. About 100 meters behind them was the entrance to a cave. Let's go there. But that would be the long way. We can't outrun the octopi, Dahlia agreed and ran a bit with him before pausing and turning around. Air called for her to come back, but she continued running towards the staff he had dropped on the ground. When she reached it, she picked it up and sprinted toward the cave with all her might. They ran quite a bit into the cave, but it was pitch black, so they tripped a lot. When they finally stopped, Air asked, Did we lose them? But when he heard an octopus yell its war cry, he flinched. Can you fight them? Dahlia asked, stepping back. No, there are too many. They'll gang up on me. Plus, Dahlia, Air called, but there was no response. Dahlia? Air couldn't use magic without his staff like his master could, so he couldn't illuminate the cave, and the octopi were probably getting closer. Frustrated and a little bit scared, he turned and ran. Alright. Now it's another flashback. Your Majesty, the octopi have declared war, someone said. Dahlia didn't recognize the voice. There was a shuffling of paper, and her uncle, the king, asked, Why? I'm, not sure, Your Highness. Hilf had been acting as a translator at the time, and he never asked them, the person replied. Are you trying to put the blame on him? No, of course not, Your Greatness. Dahlia wanted to see the person's flustered face, but since she was hidden behind the curtains, she couldn't. Very well, then. Go get Hilf and ask those dreadful creatures why they want war. But first, have there been any casualties? No, there hasn't yet, Your Highness, although some of the octopi secrete a gas that makes you lose motivation. That could be troublesome, the king said. Is there a cure? No, but the doctors are working on it, Your Majesty. Good, off with you then. There was a scurrying of feet, and then it was silent. Then someone got up. Dahlia was sure it was her uncle that got up. When she heard that he was walking towards her, she panicked, but there was nothing she could do when he opened the curtain. Hello, little Dahlia. Hi, Uncle Nest. She stared up at him, feeling a bit guilty. What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be doing schoolwork? You are a princess, after all, the king scolded. I don't see the point in being a princess if you're not going to be queen, Dahlia replied. King Nest laughed. You might be right. She smiled back, but then was reminded of the previous conversation, something that confused her. So she asked, Uncle Ned, what is war? His face turned grave. All he said before sending her off was, that is something you should ask your father. Alright, another flashback. Sinjiak? What's that? She asked. Dahlia and Air were walking through the marketplace looking for said Sinjiak. It's something I can lace with magic. It's commonly used for... But then they heard screams from down the street. They were curious, so they ran up to where the commotion was. There was a wall of people running away, and past that, there was an octopus that had gotten into town holding a woman. Dahlia looked around, but there was no soldiers in sight. She turned to her companion and said, Hurry, Air, fight it. What? He flinched. I can't fight that. We should run and get help. Air was already running for a few seconds before he realized she didn't follow him. He turned back and watched as Dahlia grabbed a knife from the market stall and leaped onto the octopus. She stabbed... Hi, Mario, welcome back. She stabbed the tentacle that was holding the woman. The octopus screamed and grabbed Dahlia, but thankfully dropped the woman. Dahlia involuntarily screamed when it shook her. Air was torn whether to go get help or try to use magic himself, but in his head he knew he should try and help his friend. It was just that he was frozen, like a deer in headlights. That was when his master's words entered his thoughts. There is no try. Do or don't. And then he started asking himself, do I want to be someone who can't do anything? Do I want to have the power to protect something but never able to use it? No, I choose to. Air charged towards the octopus and slammed the end of his staff into it. Octopus. Yes, it's a very innocent story, don't worry. Paul Starvine. Dahlia woke up feeling sore. Alright, back to present time. She sat up and was glad that Air's staff was in her hand. It was a little comfort. Air, she called, but there was no response. She didn't expect there to be any response, but it still made her panic. Dahlia gripped the staff, and that was when she had the idea. She should try and use the flashlight spell. First, she took 3 deep breaths to calm her mind, and then chanted, Lacat pe lo, interlacat pe larha, har stavun. A small ball of light appeared above the staff, and she was able to see a little bit ahead of her. But when Dahlia tried to make it bigger, it exploded and went out. So she kept the light small as she wandered through the tunnel she was in. Since Dahlia had a good sense of direction, she was heading in the right direction to get out of the cave. Dahlia saw a light at the end of the tunnel and was about to run towards it when a tentacle flew into her view, breaking her concentration. The tentacle wrapped itself around her leg and lifted her upside down, but she still had Air's staff and an idea, a really clever one to her. She held the staff up to the octopus temple and chanted the flashlight spell, focusing on making the light too large. The light exploded and the octopus cried, letting go of Dahlia. She scrambled to the outside where the lights were dim, and she turned, ready to fight. The octopus followed her out. It had a nasty-looking scorch mark on it, and it looked very angry, but before it could do anything, it was shot with a laser through the head. Air appeared out of the tunnel. He was happy to see Dahlia, but guilt overwhelmed him. I'm sorry, he blurted out. I didn't know where you were, and I didn't have my staff, and I was scared. So I ran away. I ran away again. I'm so horrible. Dahlia stared at him blankly for a second before narrowing her eyes and saying, What are you supposed to be, God? What? She walked up to him and looked him sternly in the eye. Everyone has weaknesses, things they can't do. If you can't do it, you can't do it. The reason why I was angry at you 10 years ago when that octopus appeared was because you could fight, but you didn't. Not at first. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? If I can do it, and if I can't, don't? Air asked. Dahlia smiled wildly, basically. Then she leaned her face close to his and asked, Did you sleep yet? No. Why? You have bags. She looked around. There was more metal on the side of the cave, and a river with a stone bridge a little ways in the distance. Why don't you sleep now? I can keep watch and wake you up if anything happens. Thanks, Air smiled, and Dahlia could tell he was his usual self again. He lied down, but before he closed his eyes, he said, I promise you I'm going to be a good wizard. Dahlia dropped her backpack and lay down next to him, smiling. Don't leave me behind. When they woke up, Dahlia had ended up falling to sleep too. They ate some food Dahlia had, then they crossed the river on the stone bridge, and the eastern caverns were right there. Right before they entered, Dahlia saw a small stone building next to the entrance, but when she blinked, it was gone. She wondered if she was still half asleep. The cavern was well lit with lampposts, and the tunnel they were in led straight to the end. The two were surprised that no Octopi came to stop them. Soon they were face to face with Taco, leader of the Octopi. Taco said something in the language of the Octopi before lashing its tentacle at them. They were barely able to dodge. "Stay back," Air instructed Dahlia. She nodded and stepped back towards the hall where they entered. Air took out his laser gun and shot at Taco, but it had stronger skin than other octopi, and the laser barely did anything. Taco was angry though and lashed at Air, who dodged, but not completely. Taco managed to knock the gun out of his hand, so Air took out his staff and started chanting, "Eh!" But Taco attacked him before he could finish chanting. That was a flaw that wizards had, but Air kept trying, even though he never got a word in before having to dodge. He had quite a few close calls, but his protective wards kept him from getting too hurt. Air knew it couldn't go on like that, and had to change plans. The only way for an apprentice magician to become a wizard is to make a new spell no one has used before. The words of his master came to him, and now that he wasn't overthinking it, it was quite simple. You just had to have a good imagination and the strength to control it. So Air thought. He wanted something as fast as lightning, as fluid as water, the strength of fire, and the ability to strike through earth, and he'd name it Taco Bane. He held up his staff, and a bright light came through it. It deflected the tentacles that were coming towards it, whipping through that and shot straight into Taco's big head. Taco was undoubtedly defeated. Air was relieved, but he fell to his knees in exhaustion. "Yay!" Dahlia cheered. He turned around only to see her suddenly dragged away by an octopus. He panicked for a second. Air was tired, but he got up and chatted, "Say, Canal le Cat." A light appeared and pointed down the hall they first came down. First, he grabbed the forefront book, which was behind Taco the whole time, and then he followed the light as fast as his tired legs would take him. The light led all the way back out the tunnel and to the small stone building he hadn't noticed before. Staff at the ready, Air whipped open the door. "Congratulations!" a chorus of voices cheered. Inside was a party. There was cake, other food, drinks, and about everyone in Bolvin that he could name. There was King Nest, surprisingly, the princess, and next to the throne Liliane, Dahlia's mother and father, his master Hilf in an octopus suit, and Dahlia. What? Air couldn't process what was going on, so Dahlia elaborated. "The day before yesterday, Hilf came to my room and told me about the forefront book and how to get it. Then he gave me the idea to go get it with you. When he dragged me away in the octopus suit, he let me in that this was for your training. This is your graduation ceremony. You are now a wizard." "So I defeated Taco for no reason?" Air asked, still shocked. Dahlia's dad walked up to them and put a hand on his shoulder, giving him a hard look. "No, that was to end the war. You really helped us there." Then he pulled Air into the building. "Anyways, come in, let's party. We owe a lot to you." And they partied all through the night. Early morning, when most of the partygoers passed out in the building, Dahlia stepped out for Air to find Air already standing around practicing magic. "Still at it?" she asked. "Aren't you tired?" "A bit, but I want to keep practicing," he replied, making an inanimate fairy with his magic. "Why?" Air was silent for a bit before he said, "I don't want to run away again." "I see," Dahlia smiled, walking up next to him. "What are you going to do now that you're a wizard?" "I don't know. Maybe I'll end more wars," Air joked. Dahlia chuckled. "What are you gonna do?" Dahlia walked in front of Air and poked his fairy, causing him to lose his concentration and for it to disappear. "I guess I'll bother you until you ditch me. I'm sure I'll find out what I want to do eventually." The end. That's the end. That's the end of that. I actually thought one was kind of cute. I thought that one was kind of cute. Okay. That's all then. That's all for today. I still have more, but I've already been reading for so long today. Yeah, thank you for coming, everybody. I hope you had a nice, relaxing time. Thank you, thank you. Let me find somebody to read just real quick. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. One sec. I had to work up a lot of courage to say all that. You did great, thank you. I had to work up a lot of courage to read out all my writing, but I really appreciate you all coming. Hey, so this stream, you did great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Alright, let me find somebody to read. Let's see. Alright, I think we're gonna read Adela. Adela's doing art, so it should be comfy over there too. Yeah, okay. Thank you for coming, everybody. There will definitely be a part 2 of this. I have so many more stories. But yeah, we'll continue this later. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. I had such a great time. I will see you all next time. I will be streaming tomorrow. I'll be streaming Odinsphere. Yeah, so look forward to it. Thank you for coming again, everyone. I will see you later. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to my stories. Okay, bye-bye now. Bye. Bye.